care, ref. That she got the ball.
Yes, everybody, welcome back to the Irish Hotspur, and this is going to be your fan show after what was probably the best Man City miracle we have had in a long time. We've been treated to plenty Man City miracles, plenty of times we've gone up against that team, probably not expecting much, maybe just slightly hopeful that, again, we could show out and end up absolutely playing out of our skin and basically surprising the whole Premier League. And we've done it so many times that I think some of us were maybe slightly hopeful that could happen again, but this time, it really was going to take a real performance. Pep Guardiola given a new contract. He had as well, the losing streak, in the back of their minds. They definitely were looking to try to try to get back onto the right track. And Spurs just absolutely dominated Man City after the first 15 to 20 minutes, where it was a little bit shaky, but one of the best performances, I think. Sorry, just need to plug in this computer. But one of the best performances I think we've seen maybe under Ange Postecoglou. I feel like I've been saying that a lot of times this season. Maybe shows my confidence in Ange and also just shows how much I believe in the guy. That I feel like I've been saying that a lot of times where we've been getting some of the best performances we've ever had under his tenure. And let's hope that we just can finally fix that consistency issue, because a lot of us maybe after buzzing from the Man City game are just maybe wondering, how is it actually going to go against Fulham? Again, a team that you would expect to probably try to get some points against. But Spurs, when the pressure isn't on, like in this Man City game, we seem to do tremendously, and we know how to get over the line. We know how to take it to teams when there's no pressure, but when there is a bit of pressure, or when there's no pressure, we know how to get over the line. When there is maybe that pressure to just do the business, get the job done, we seem to crumble. But it was one of the best Man City wins in a long time. Good to see some people joining us. By the way, short queue for the fan show tonight. So in case you are maybe looking to make your debut, or maybe wait a little bit later on in the show to come on, hit the link now. It's a lot shorter than usual. We only have a few people in the back end. So please come on, have your say. Dave probably will be joining me tonight. I think just something came up for him last minute, unfortunately, but hopefully he can make this one and we can all have a chat together. If not, just a little solo session between myself and you guys, and we can keep each other company and relive that glory that we had in Manchester. Spurs absolutely dominating that city at the moment. But a few questions that Dave was able to drum up for me, thankfully. And one of them is that the result and the performance perhaps squashed all those rumors that we were talking about the dressing room discontent. Yes, there were some rumors, I think from Football Insider, right, about there being players, especially I think on the Italian side of things, like Vicario, as well as Kulusevski, maybe even some others that were like Romero named to not really be that enthused by Ange anymore, maybe starting to lose some belief in the guy. And I think that's definitely been squashed, you could say, in the last maybe performance, because James Maddison, someone that was definitely, probably rightfully so, being debated whether he was, I guess not in the same page as Ange. And he performed out of his skin, and looked like a guy that was really refreshed, as well as newly motivated by probably the birthday, but also maybe an opportunity that Ange gave him. He also had some time, during the international break, since he wasn't playing for England, to maybe, I don't know, work out any of the disagreements or any maybe problems that they might have had between each other, between James Maddison and the manager. And we got the benefit of that. But it looks like that Football Insider article, maybe not much to believe in. Perhaps there could have been some truth to it, but from that performance, really hard to tell if there really was any truth to it at all. But give me your thoughts on that, and just kind of on those sort of kind of rumors, coming about every now and again, right? When the pressure starts to be building up, it feels like, sometimes the media can really jump on the manager's back or the player's back, and a really awesome response by the players and everybody involved. But then the other question we had was, did Postecoglou change tactics, or did he end up just doing the same thing, the regular Ange ball? We were having a conversation in the back end, myself, Ash, we had Brad as well, talking about kind of whether Ange made any significant adjustments, any significant changes to his tactics. We all kind of felt like he didn't. In my opinion, you only get yourself 2-0 up inside, what was it, 20, 25 minutes, if it isn't for that delicious football that we were trying to play in the first 20, 25 minutes. We were still trying to play the same way, at least in my opinion, in that first half that we always play against teams, where we're trying to dominate possession. We're also looking to win the ball high up the pitch when we can, move on them quickly, try to create really good opportunities and chances on a regular basis. We're not looking to maybe go about it in let's say, a cautious approach or anything like that. Not looking to maybe make the game cagey or anything like that. We are looking to take the game to the opposition. And we did that straight away. And we had, the just rewards of being 2-0 up. There was maybe a shaky period there in the first 15 minutes where Man City were creating chances. But I think that also comes with the risky football that Ange ball comes with and that we were trying to play. And I personally don't think that we really made that many significant adjustments to call it Conte ball or to call it a low block or anything like that. And you even look like towards the 60th, 70th minute, you can still see images of the back line still trying to play an offside trap, still trying to catch players out from making those runs beyond them. They weren't just playing with every man behind the ball in their own box, looking to try to basically see the game out. They were still trying to employ some of the same principles that we always see under Ange Postecoglou. Tottenham's inconsistency, definitely have to talk about that because the Fulham game, if we were to win that, I think that would start to maybe calm some of the frustrations you could say around that because I think it's a valid one. I think it's a valid frustration that Spurs will beat Man City. And then the fear is that we'll just lose to Fulham the next week. We just have this, topsy-turvy up and down type of form right now in nature. And it'd be nice if we could turn that around, especially with this Fulham game. I think it's a really good opportunity to do so, as well as the fact that it's at home. Dejan Kulusevski, has he maybe in recent weeks started to put his name in the ring or his hat in the ring, as you say, for the captaincy, in the future? Because at the moment in time, of course, we have Sonny as the captain, but plenty of people have questioned, are there really any real Roy Keane like leaders in the team, or maybe modern versions of that type of captain or leader in the team? And I think we're looking for candidates. We're trying to think of candidates. I've thought of Vicario in the past. Some people have thrown about Romero, Pedro Porro, but as Kulusevski made himself more of a likely candidate, more of a realistic candidate with the way that he's carried himself in the past few weeks or so. And then also we saw maybe Son being subbed at the 60th minute. Is it just Ange Postecoglou trying to preserve him? Is this maybe an opportunity for others to get their minutes? That was something that Dave wrote. Maybe we'll get his thoughts on that if he joins today. And then James Maddison, yeah, kind of similar to the discontent that we were talking about earlier with some of the other players, maybe more specifically on James Maddison. If you had any opinions about that, what did you make of his performance? First of all, what a performance that was. Maybe probably his best ever in a Spurs shirt. I felt like I've also said that, a couple of times this season with James Maddison. I really have liked his season. I think he was to a degree harshly dropped, but Pop Matsar has also been playing out of his skin in that midfield. So it made life kind of hard on Maddison, where Kulusevski's undroppable. Pop Matsar is almost undroppable. And it made it really difficult for Maddison to find an obvious place in that team. But the way he just played, he's almost become undroppable after that performance. So let me know what you think of, how well he played. But also, is that a message to Ange? Was there any maybe discontent between them? Were there any disagreements, or is not really much to buy into or read into? Let me know your thoughts on that. Just going to get to the chat quickly, but we'll get this fan show underway here. We have Beto in the house. Good to see you, Beto. Adrian Stroka, looking forward to coming on to your show tomorrow, everybody. I'll be putting the link out in the community section for you guys to join that. I believe Brad Matthews will be joining me as well for it. We have Allan in the house. Big up to you, Allan. Hopefully you're okay this Monday, my friend. Peter's in here as well. Good to see you, Peter. J-Mac is in as well. Big up to J-Mac. And also, Peter, really appreciate all the gifted memberships that you've gifted the channel recently. And if anybody's watching that has been gifted a membership by Peter, take advantage of it. Come on, make your debut, have your say. Plenty of room in the back end. Usually we have much bigger queues than this, but maybe people are off celebrating the Man City win. Not sure what you guys have going on this evening. Thanksgiving's coming up for plenty of Americans, becoming a bit of a busy week. You have Black Friday, holiday shopping, all that good stuff. But if you have this time this evening, come on, have your say, because there's a lot of space in the back end. Big up to International Observer saying fabulous high. Now back to reality. Kulu calls it spot on. That win has gone. We are bigger than that. Ange, congrats. I hope you saw that counterattack is also possible. In my opinion, International Observer, yes, we did counter on them, but it's not like we were playing intentionally a low block of any kind to hit them on the counter. That's just how I see it. But we will be having those conversations with plenty of the fan show members tonight. Spurs GCTV, good to see you with us. Hopefully you're keeping okay. Alberto's in the house as well. Good to see you, Alberto. Let's smash Roma indeed. Chris joining. Always, I think he's been a member, just renewing it. Hopefully we have his conversation later. Brad Matthews is with us. We also have as well Colin Cross, Hagen Hijack. This is the greatest win in Premier League history. I was saying to Brad, I was saying to Ash in the back end about just what 4-0 even looks like on paper. And just in general, it's just clean. It's lovely. It's a Dermatron scoreline. We know Dermatron likes to send in those 4-0 predictions. And it just looks so good on paper. It looks so good, especially next to a Man City crest and away from home. Starting to, you know, I think we've had some struggles away from home this season, last season, but with a win like that, you really can't get much better than that in terms of a win away from home. Maybe just a North London derby win away from home could be that tad bit better, or Chelsea win away from home, but I don't know. That one was an emphatic, a statement win as well for Ange Postecoglou. And I loved his celebrations as well for all the goals. I thought they were very cold and kind of ruthless the way that he was celebrating them, almost mean mugging and doing like an ice cold Palmer kind of vibe of the way that he's celebrating it. So a great win and one of the best ones that we'll have in a long, long time, I think, against Man City. Probably one of the better results that we'll have against Man City. That being said, we always seem to get decent results against them. Good to see King Hoddle in here with us as well. And Big Ange, I emphatically trust. Come on, you Spurs. I'm on the same page there, King Hoddle. We have Wayno Bonner. Good to see you, Wayno. Good evening. I heard that Man City have called in the FBI to search for Holland after he went missing at the deck he had. It's crazy with Holland, how many chances he missed on the evening. He had a couple really good ones in the first 15 to 20. Davo, we're just reliving the glory of Manchester City. We're going to take in the Collins. I was saying at first, the queue, for some reason, was a bit light. Maybe people are still celebrating into the evenings. They've taken work off. They're just going to happy clap for as long as they can until the Fulham game. I don't blame them.
Yeah, look, I think a lot of people are out celebrating, enjoying themselves, aren't they, Jack? Reveling in it. We've, I think next week we're due up there. I think they're giving Ange Postecoglou's the keys to the city. A big honour for him, bestowed upon him. That's Old Trafford and the deck he had now that we've gone up there. We actually own that city. We've steamrolled them with mesmerising performances and we've captured the eyes of the world by doing that. Now we just need to bring consistency to it, because when I look at that, I can't remember the last time I've seen a Spurs team go to either side and do that to them in the manner that they've done it to them. So I do think there is something that is there. It's just now, can we bring the consistency, which in effect would bring more and more Spurs fans on board. Mm-hmm. All we want to look, we can sit here and profess we care about style of play, tactics, etc. We don't. All we care about is winning games of football. I've learned that. When we've had pragmatic managers, people say we want to play the Spurs way. Now that we play the Spurs way, people say it's suicide, want to be a bit more pragmatic. We don't care. We just want to win games of football. So hopefully now that can be the springboard, that we don't let go like we did against Man United, that we actually use it to really kick on.
Oh, love that, Dave. And Dave told me a stat earlier that this might have been the best Guardiola spanking that has ever happened, or since 2010 or something like that. Guardiola
2014 Real Madrid, I think it was the first time he's been bet by an away side by 4 goals since 2014 Real Madrid. So we're the only second team to do it in his managerial career.
Second best away spanking of Pep Guardiola in history. What a statement win. What a statement win. And you can put that on your resume, and Postecoglou for sure.
You can never sing that.
Big up to Wayno Bonner, absolute legend. Just going to finish up greeting some people and bringing them in. I was doing my best to preview your questions, by the way, Dave, in case you're curious. Ash and Brad, we were having a chat earlier, and they have very similar opinions to you about the changing of the tactics, if there was any or not, so I'm curious to see what you might have to say about some of their thoughts, which will happen very soon. We have, like I said, King Hoddle with us. Levi Tucker, what's up, everyone? He's celebrating a new job, so he's saying lots of things to celebrate. Big up to you, Levi. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Big up, my friend. Celebrate, and also make sure to get up early, though. I think Eddie, is also celebrating, something with work as well. So make sure, you show up on time, got the press clean uniform or whatever you're rocking, looking good, got a new haircut, and best of luck to you. Andy Yang is in here as well. Davo's with us. Queen Ellie's with us as well. And I think that's about it. I think I got everyone. And then Peter, big up to Perchy as well, who was gifted a membership by Peter. Thank you so much, Peter. And anybody who has been gifted a membership, especially in previous streams by Peter, like I said, plenty of you guys in the back end who might be watching this, to make your debut, take advantage of Peter's generosity and to come on, have your say, get involved in the community. I'd like to think that we have a lot of really friendly, fun, as well as just, nice Spurs fans, over here that, of course, all have their respective opinions about things, but I think we all get along and we have a special place over here. So get involved, take part in it, and take advantage of Peter's generosity, please.
And, no, 100%. But look, I suppose we'll get going, Jack. We'll start hearing what the fans have to say, will we? So, look, our money in the back end. So I presume the order is the way people have come in, right?
The
in the back.
order is Ash first. I believe Brad wanted to give up his spot to Ash, unless I'm mistaken, and then Brad is second. And then after that, I think it's the order as they came in, which I'll put into the chat. But let's bring on Ash first.
Let's bring on Ash. Let's hear what she has to say. Good evening, Ash. How are you keeping?
I am very, very well. After Saturday, I cannot be better. I honestly, I'm still buzzing. It's been 2 or 3 days now, and I'm still like desperately watching videos of Man City fan meltdowns, and still I'm just laughing all the way. But I'm also a little bit disappointed and annoyed with our fans, just a little bit, because I'm one who's for debate. I love the fact that we all have differing opinions about the club, because it shows that we're a energized fan base. But the thing is, to be disingenuous about what happened in the game as if other people don't have eyes is ridiculous. I'm sorry. And I don't care about what kind of ball we play as long as we win, but I do think that like we were not changing our game tactically. And if you could give me a minute, I just want to go into it.
Go away.
So let's just get into it. Like, what is Ange Ball known for, right? It's known for three things. It's known for a high press, it's a high line, and inverted fullbacks, right? Now, first goal. Where were Udogi and Porro when we scored? When Dragusin passed that ball to Kulusevski for the first goal, they were in the middle of the field, just 2 meters ahead of Bissouma and Sarr, and they were like running in. And because they were running in, there weren't enough City players to track all their runs. And so Madison got left to Gundogan, who was the slowest person on that pitch. And literally, Madison is like twice as fast as him. And literally, Gundogan could not keep up. And he's pointing at Madison, but Stone is worried about Solanke and Kulusevski, so he can't mark them. And quite literally, it's because we had inverted fullbacks at that point that we were able to overrun them in the midfield. The second goal, right? Four Man City players. Akanji passes it to Guardiol. Guardiol can't pass it back to Akanji because Kulusevski's in the way. And literally, he passes the ball. He passes the ball back to Gundogan because he can't pass it to Akanji. And Gundogan is not as fast as Madison again, and Madison gets to it first. Guess how many players, high press, guess how many players were there? 4 Man City players, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. 6 Spurs players were pressing them.
Yeah.
Porro, Kulusevski, Madison, Solanke, and Sonny. So 6 Spurs players were in that frame. That's when Madison made that short pass to Sonny, right? Third goal. Where is Pedro Porro? The minute we get possession back, where is Pedro Porro? He comes in into the midfield, and that's where he's running in from, right? When Solanke gets that ball from from Sonny, he's rushing down that pitch in the bang center of it, So why was he there if he's a fullback? It's Ange Ball. That's the reason he's there the minute we got possession back. And that's how he was able to score, because he's in the middle of the pitch, and all of the things that Jack mentioned, the offside traps, the second half, all of that. So I'm sorry. To me, that looks a lot like Ange Ball. The only time not playing Ange Ball but still being attacking was when that Sonny Edison stop happened, where Udogi was still was quite towards the wings, but that's because it happened in quick transition. So when we're out of possession, the fullbacks go back to where they were.
I love that Ash sees that and then she's like wiping her eyes. She's like, "Wait a minute, I'm gonna have to watch this game back. What did I miss here?" Sorry.
Do you know what? I definitely sort of agree with that. I think Ange Ball was what initially got us into the position. I do think there was a slight element in the second half that we weren't as arsed going to press them as high up the pitch and stuff like that. But we did sort of, when they were in long spells of possession, we did sort of have a very good structure. But to me, it's Ange Ball that put us in that position to sort of allow that little bit in the second half to change slightly. But I agree with you. I don't think he's changed drastically. I've heard some people out there say, I don't think he has done that. I think they're missing the point that Ange Ball, especially the way we played it in the first half, was got us into that position. And once we got the third goal, then we could sort of change a little bit. So I definitely agree with that. Ash, anything else you want to speak about, or can I ask you a question on Dejan Kulusevski?
Oh my God, he's currently my favorite player in the Spurs team. I love this boy so much. There is nothing he can do wrong. And, I've been a defender of him even when he was out of form or he wasn't playing right. Because, there are very few players that do all the basics right. He's a good passer. He's good at holding play. He's good at, tracking back to defend. Yes, he can improve on his goal scoring, but he's not bad at that either. So, it's very rare that you find a footballer who can do everything in football correctly. And Dejan Kulusevski is that sort of player. And he's only going to improve. He's 24 years old. His peak is still 2 years away from him. Like, he's only going to improve. So, to me, it feels like we have a class player, if not a world-class player, on our hands in 2 years, if he continues on this form. And also availability. He's always available.
So you're sort of subscribed to what Gary Neville said. I don't know if many people have heard it, but after the game when he done his sort of podcast, he sort of alluded that he thinks if Kulusevski continues on this sort of trajectory, that the likes of Bayern Munich and all that will definitely be circling around them. I think Graham Roberts, I've seen put on Twitter saying that Gary Neville's trying to sell him. There could be an element of that. What do you think is his best position, though, Ash? Because we've seen him play up front at times last season, score goals and contribute amazingly. See him play on the right. A lot of people have maybe had their questions on him out there. And then centrally as well, through the middle as sort of a creator, he's shown that he can really do a job. So what do you think is Kulusevski's best position?
I mean, for me, his best position is centrally. But I do feel like perhaps for the balance of the team, like when we were playing City, we looked balanced. Like that, the energy of Saran Bissouma with the intricacy of Madison and the runs that he was making. Like in terms of balance, it makes more sense to put him in the right. But like I said, a player who has all of these skills, no matter where he is on the pitch, once he gains the confidence that he can do these things, no matter where you put him on the pitch, it was like Harry Kane, right? Harry Kane was considered like Haaland only can score goals. He changed his game. He showed us. And then you can literally put Harry Kane everywhere but full back and he can play it, So it's kind of like that. These players, they learn at this age. And by 27, 28, they become like fully fleshed out.
Do you know what? I definitely agree with that. For me, I've seen that Tottenham in years gone by, players that can play a certain system, but I've always maintained a good player can be competent in most positions in a system, and I think Kulusevski is one of them. He's not a system player. I think no matter the system he can play, when you look at some of his performances down the right-hand side, especially the first season under Conte, he can play in that sort of system. And then you look at Ange Ball and he can play in that system. So I do think it is a testament of how good Kulu can be as long as he sort of continues on this trajectory. Jack, anything you want to ask Ash about?
I feel like I don't want to kill the mood, but there's been some breaking news that we might have to leave Ash with. And Vicario, Ash, just quickly, Sergeant Stressful, really, really appreciate the sports scene. What an absolute phenomenal win. Come on, you Spurs. One of the best wins I think you'll ever get against Man City. And like Dave brought up earlier, the best Guardiola spanking in a long time, and which feels really good to say. And even though we play well against Man City most times, this is probably the best it could ever really get. I don't know if you can do much better than 4-0 like that. Sergeant Stressful, and also great name, and really appreciate your support for us. But Ash, Vicario apparently has gone under surgery for a fractured ankle, could be out for 8 weeks. First things first, we never can have anything, can we? It seems like, anytime we Spurs have a great day, there's always some sort of little nugget, that ends up going, the other direction for us that really will catch us out. Can't have nice things, can we, Ash?
We only have ourselves to blame. Who's telling us that we couldn't have bought a proper second choice keeper? Like, why did we have to continue with Fraser Foster? Everybody knows he's not Premier League level. And, every player is only one injury away from being out. So I don't understand it. Why do we put ourselves in this position?
Faz is saying we are dead. Would you agree? Like, is a lot of your expectations and hope of Spurs going on a big winning run, really hurt by that?
Yeah, it is hurt by that. I don't trust Fraser Foster distribution, his ball playing ability, and he's a decent shot stopper. But for Ange ball, he's going to have to really like turn it up to like a 10. I don't see how we get out of this.
Let
Unless
me
in
ask.
Jan, I mean, we should hold out for a month. January, we can buy someone.
Yeah, look, I think that's the saving grace. But the only thing is, between then and January, I think we've got like 8 or 9 games. So, it can
The
very,
worst
very
time.
quickly come back to pay us. It's not like I wish we could have that break that we have in January, that 2-week break now, to get us to January without it sort of coming back to bite us in the ass. But look, I'll be brutally honest. I look at Fraser Forster. I feel like what against Galatasaray, I was watching my dad in goal. I thought, getting down to shots and all, I don't think he was the quickest. Playing out from the back, I don't think he's good whatsoever. And I think, that's a huge part of Vicario's game. One is his shot stopping ability. I don't think he gets enough credit or recognition. The amount of shots he actually pulls off behind that back line is unbelievable. But also, he's playing out from the back. It sort of helps relieve a little bit of pressure at times. I don't think Fraser Forster is good at either any of them anymore, to be brutally honest. Would you consider maybe, and I know it's not ideal, but we know what Fraser Forster will offer. Would you consider bringing in a Gunter, maybe a Brandon Austin or an Alfie Whiteman, considering they got long-term contracts? Would you consider looking at someone different instead of Fraser?
I would actually. I mean, perhaps, we could, we have one or two slightly weaker teams in the Europa as well. Maybe give it a shot there, see what happens. Because Chelsea and Liverpool, I would not want to put a young person through that in December.
Fair. We've got big
Perhaps
games coming up.
yeah, but perhaps if there's a weaker team somewhere in the middle, we could just fit them in, see how it goes. If they play really well, we could continue with them. Anybody but Fraser Foster.
Well, we know how you feel about Big Fraser, and I kind of feel pretty similarly, Ash, I must admit. But we have to take some time to give your channel a plug. I think it's so cool. All about the WSL. I'm going to put it into the chat here. I've been meaning to actually watch it. I subscribed and liked it, but I want it to pop
Oh,
up on my
thank
feed
you.
more often because people like yourself are kind of, sometimes I don't get to always watch games, so I kind of like to rely on other people to kind of tell me what's happened, what I should be thinking about. But tell us about the channel that you've been doing on the side, because I know you're a busy person.
It's called All About the WSL, and it's basically we do all of the teams in the WSL, but I kind of focus on Spurs because of a bias. But Spurs, just on the same day, we actually won 1-0 against Villa in the cup. So I think we have a good chance of the trophy this year. At some silverware, so I'm excited about it. And there was a brilliant goal. Everyone, if
Yeah.
you go check out the goal by Sumanen, it was it was a screamer, it was a banger, it was everything you want a goal to be. So go check it out. And yeah, check out my channel as well. We do a lot of uh, we only do the women's content, but we cover tactics and everything about the game in the women's sport. So, and it's really important for you to keep track of that, because if you're a Spurs fan, you should watch under 18, you should watch under 21, you should watch the men's team, and you should watch the women's team.
Absolutely.
Fair play. I love that. I love that. Something completely different. So, guys, if you do want to know everything about the Tottenham specific WSL team, make sure you subscribe to that channel. Get over and give Ash your support. Ash, keep doing what you're doing. I know you do a show with Ellie every once in a while, and I do tune into that if I'm on my computer and that. So keep doing what you're doing, and thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Great job,
Thanks a
Ash.
lot. Thank you for having me on. Bye-bye.
Great
It's
opener.
a pleasure. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Come on, you
That's
Spurs.
Ash, everybody. Absolutely great comments for her while she was on screen. People absolutely loving what she has to say. But guys, please do get across and check out her channel at the All About the WSL. Peter did gift out. Oh yeah, we'll get to this from Faz.
Peter did gift one out. Yeah, who was that to? I think it was to Levi Tucker, the guy who had the new job recently. So Levi, if you want to celebrate with us, come on, have your say, my
It's all
friend.
the luck's got his way, isn't it?
All the luck is. Big up to Peter, though. Really appreciate the generosity. Please take advantage of it. And then Fazzy Radfar, here's my guess is that maybe you have more than one Google account and one of them maybe has the membership and the other one doesn't. I know that you changed your
Google account.
Yeah, I think one of them was like Faz Radfar 41 Spurs. Maybe the Faz Radfar 41 Spurs has the Google membership and then this one doesn't. So let me know if you have more than one Google membership and maybe that's or Google account and maybe that's what it is. It's so hopefully that can resolve this thing. If not, then usually you can probably talk to Google Chat or something about and they can resolve it for you.
Yeah, if not, I'll have a look, see what we can do anyway. But big up, Faz, really appreciate it. But I think Jack might be onto something there, my man. But big up, Faz. I just hope this news is an Arsenal fan trolling. That would be absolutely great if we could wake up tomorrow and find out it was an Arsenal fan trolling. But it doesn't seem like it is. And we've got this from Mr. Markey. Paulie boy, how are you keeping, sir? Long time no see. He says, team tactic of 4-3-2-1 now was the key. Mobile double pivot versatility, Okulu, tireless work of Big Dom. Ange now has his formula. Do you know what? I did look at that team, and I do think that is probably his strongest team. I think the only one I probably would change if Bentancur was available, would still put him in there for Basuma. But, you know, I spoke about this in the pre-match build-up. As soon as I seen it, I liked it. You know, because it was he clearly went for a very physical lineup, which meant when he picks that, he's obviously going to try and get at Man City. And I've always said, I don't like, teams that approach these big teams and sit back because inevitably you're just delaying the inevitable 9 times out of 10. I'm a firm believer if you go and make your own look, what these players don't want, because they're so used to people sitting off them, is that physicality. And we went at them and they could not handle it yesterday. Vicario ain't used to people going at him the way Kulu went at him yesterday. He absolutely bullied them. Their midfield is not used to people getting in amongst them the way Sarr, Basuma, and Madison did yesterday. They're used to being sitting off, having time, scan the pitch, pick their passes. They weren't used to it and they got absolutely rolled over. We asked the question and they weren't ready for that physical sort of battle. Yeah. So I do think that is... And I've always said this, regardless of the team you're playing against, you've got to earn the right to play. And I think this team, if they can eclipse that same energy in future games, and we don't see the up and down nature where they're up for some games and not up for others that we've seen in the past, I think this is that team that I think teams won't like playing against. We're big, we're physical, we're strong, we can mix it up, but we've also got a lot of quality. But the big question off the back of it is, can we be consistent, Paul Markey? That's what we're all waiting to sort of see. Because we had that springboard against United, we didn't really take it. Hopefully we can take this one now. Jack, anything you want to say, Paul?
I think he is right about the versatility of Kulusevski, having him out on the right, because he can just be that extra hold-up player. Like I was saying, Solanke sometimes is being used as the guy to drop deep, be the hold-up play for the front line. Having Kulusevski, who can also help him in that, maybe gives Solanke a tad bit more freedom and, helps him to make maybe more runs in behind or be in the box a bit more often. And then also with the double pivot of just kind of energetic ball-winning midfielders, I think that just makes his press a lot more effective. It's nice to have Madison in the team with Kulusevski at the same time, but if they're both playing centrally, I do think we have a little bit missing in the press sometimes. Whereas if you go for Bentancur, Sarr, or, a Basuma Sarr combination of some kind, I do think you get a lot more defensively out of that. And most of the time, you do probably want to have the press be a bit, more, enthusiastic and consistent, especially against the better team. So I agree with pretty much everything Paul said there.
And 100%, having like Sarr and Basuma in there, 2 players that will get amongst it, that are robust enough, brilliant. But for me, it's key that James Maddison eclipses what he done out of possession yesterday and brings that 2 more games. Because once he does, it means you've got a nasty midfield where everyone can do it. If he doesn't, there's always going to be that sort of weak spot, that soft spot. So it is reliant on Maddison also eclipsing what he did out of possession yesterday. But big up, Paul Markey. Really appreciate the support, my man. Absolute legend. Thank you very, very much. Let us know in the comments, if there's that you agree with, disagree with, and we'll be happy to continue the conversation. But look, let's keep this going. Let's keep it moving. Next guest we have on is the one and only Mr. Matthews. Let's bring him on and let's hear what he has to say. Brad, how are you keeping?
How's it going, guys? Good. Just really, really good. It's been a busy day and a busy weekend. Still on Cloud 9 trying to work out what the hell happened on Sunday. I I was just saying pre-show that the last Tottenham games have just left me speechless. You know, the Ipswich game and the Man City game, just totally. What was that? You know,
that's because of the Jekyll and Hyde nature of the performances, right? So I think the big question is now we've got that springboard off Man City. It's an absolute amazing one to build off. We've got the attention of the world, you know. How do we bring that consistency between now and the January transfer window? Because it's all good saying we need this, we need that, but we've got about 10 games to navigate between now and then.
I think it's all down to the players. I think it's we seem to have this attitude that we've done all the hard work. We beat Aston Villa, didn't we? You know, that tough game. We've done all the hard work. We've got Ipswich next. You know, they're pretty rubbish. And I think they need to get that right. And I guess Fulham, Roma on Thursday and then Fulham on Sunday, I think we'll see what we're made of. But I think I'm hoping. I know that there shouldn't be a place in the season where things change. I'm hoping that the Ipswich game has basically given them a kick up the backside. Because as I think I said to you on that show a couple of weeks ago, hearing the fans booing them, you know, individually, like when they went round to sort of applaud the fans, I haven't seen that at Tottenham. And I looked at the players, and the players looked shocked. So I'm hoping that maybe that this will be that's the one I'm looking for, wake-up call. Shouldn't have to have a wake-up call, but maybe that the Ipswich game will be that. The only thing I would say is that Fulham will be a harder game than on paper anyway, than Ipswich. Fulham, apart from the Wolves result, have actually had a good run lately. So yeah, it'd be interesting.
Do you know what? There was an article put out about Kulusevski talking why he gets up for the bigger games and not so much the smaller games. So I need to read that later because I think that could be a very good talking point before the Fulham game. But on the performance, Brad, there seems to be a lot of up in the air, you know, heading into this about this sort of harmony within the dressing room, right? There was that leak by Football Insider saying the likes of Vicario, who was outstanding yesterday, didn't look like he didn't like Ange, Destiny Adoji, Romero and Bentancur, that they'd all been falling out with Ange. Do you think that sort of result, but also the performance that comes along with it, actually squashes all them rumours of discontent in the dressing room?
Well, the thing is, if we'd have been at Ipswich, you wouldn't have had all these reports. No one would be talking about it. And I think, you know, I'd be worried if they all came in after that game against Ipswich and didn't argue and didn't, you know, have a real big barney about it. You know, if they all just went on their international break without even thinking about it. And yeah, I mean, it's good. You're going to have these sort of moments, aren't you? I think one of the guys, Paul O'Keefe, said that apparently Ange and Madison had sort of clear the air talks, blah, blah, blah. And we saw how Madison played on the weekend. It's always going to happen. It's going to happen in all your big clubs, all the clubs that are successful. You're going to have that sort of thing. As for losing the dressing room, that side of it, I think, is bollocks, basically. I think it's just that some players might have a gripe about something. We all have it. We all have it at work. You know, we might not get on with our colleagues or our manager every now and again. You know, it's just something that happens. So, and also, you know, it gets your views, doesn't it? It gets your clicks. You know, people are more likely, and I'm including myself on this, people are more likely to click on something that says, you know, oh, it's not right inside this Spurs dressing room, you know, then that's all really happy in the Spurs dressing room. It's like people tend to always tweet negative things. Do you know what? I'm the same.
I've suffered for that before, you know. It's like all's not well in the dressing room when I realised I clicked into stories about Harry Kane losing the cricket game or something. You know, it was absolutely farcical.
Yeah, exactly.
Brad, I have to ask you a question because you did bring up James Maddison, and then I'll zip it and let Jack, have a word. James Maddison, look. Hopefully, people understand what I mean, because when Marcus Rashford went out and celebrated his birthday when Man United lost to Man City, it made the headlines. His recent trip to America to watch the NBA playoffs have made the headlines because United aren't doing well. That performance from James Maddison, is that a level that is here to stay, or did he just play like that so he could go out and celebrate his birthday without it reaching the headlines?
I would like to think that James Maddison, I mean, a professional footballer, wants to play his best every single game, and I'd be very, very distressed if it because he wanted to go out afterwards that he played well. Be very, very distressed, very, very disappointed. I would say no. I think he's just a professional footballer. He's not like our whole team. He's not consistent, and if he can become consistent like our whole team, then we're going to see a lot better James Maddison, and we're going to see a lot better Spurs. It's just a consistency, and I think he had a point to prove on Sunday, and my word, did he ever? I mean, that's the sort of James Maddison I remember at Leicester. Those 2 goals he scored. I mean, he was always scoring goals against us when he played for Leicester. So I don't think it's I don't think it's because he wanted to go out partying. It would be pretty poor if it was, but I think it's just players have up and down, as does the football team, and we just got to get that, as you say, consistency. That's the main key, because consistency wins you things. It's simple as that. Well, there's any sort of science behind it. So,
if you had a preference, Brad, between having Maddison in the team or Johnson in the team, because that's kind of where the competition is going to be, right? And just
obviously competition is healthy. I think when I saw the lineup, I thought he's left Johnson on the bench simply because Johnson had played a few games for Wales, hadn't he? I think he played 2 minutes for Wales, and whereas Maddison has been, basically at training ground, so I think it's going to be horses for courses. Who we're playing. I don't think. I know it's nice to have this is our strongest 11, but I think you do have to adapt. And I think Johnson had a tough international week, and I always think I do like Maddison and Kulusevski together. I really do. I think Kulusevski just gives that bit of muscle. There used to be a thing. I can't remember what play it was. He used to be really, really. I think probably Hoddle saying that. Well, I'm allowed to do this because I've got other players that are doing the running for me, doing the tough stuff for me. So I think with Kulusevski there, I think he adds that little bit of muscle, which Maddison seems to thrive on. So we can only hope. As for whether the next, I'm not including the Roma game because that's going to be changing anyway. But the Fulham game, do you play? I don't know. It's one of those things. I do like Maddison and Kulusevski together, but if you bring Johnson in, who else after those two would miss out? And I think on Sunday it really worked really well because and Postecoglou does do this quite regularly. He brought the changes on. He brought Johnson on for Son, and a lot of people sort of thought really quizzical. Where I thought, well, no, that makes sense to me. Son was playing well. Don't get me wrong, but he's just done his international duty, been probably all the way around the world playing for South Korea.
True.
And then you bring Johnson on, who for the last 30 minutes has got a bit of pace. We know that Man City are trying to get the goal back, so I thought that was really good. And then it was near the end of the game when he brought. I actually looked forward to it when he brought what's his face, Werner on, because I thought this guy's pretty quick. This guy could actually, if he only does one thing, could do something in this game. And we saw what happened. He got that ball. He outpaced Walker, who's not slow. Okay, Walker had played the whole game. Don't get me wrong. He outpaced him, put the ball in the net, and Johnson scored. So, it's a team game, and that's what happens. That's how we play. We have a high intensity way of playing. So you've got to have players that can come on with 60 minutes gone that can retain that intensity. So it's a nice problem to have. I just hope that Maddison does play like that. Whenever he comes on, whenever he plays.
Yeah, and before we start plugging your Christmas songs, Brad, that you were telling me that you were recording earlier, sadly we have to finish on bad news because it's probably sad life of being a Spurs fan. It seems like we can never have nice things. There's always something dooming and glooming in the corner, and that has to do with Vicario. First of all, I am asking myself this: did Vicario actually finish like the last 20 minutes or whatever, like on a broken ankle? That's insane.
I'm trying to think back. I mean, and I haven't watched it. I recorded it. I haven't watched it back yet. I'm trying to think back, and I think he did get injured at one stage near the end.
Porro's header, if people remember correctly.
Do you know what minute that was? How long was he hobbling on a broken ankle for?
Yeah. I think that was like 60, 50, 50, 55, 60 minutes. I don't think it was towards the end of the game because I remember Porro, I think it was after we went 3-0 up, Porro done the back header, left him short, and I think he received treatment for like 5-10 minutes, didn't he? And then he continued on for like a good 30 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know. You do sometimes you do have pain and you don't sort of realise how serious it is. So maybe that's what's happened. I have actually got a couple of things to say. You're talking about the keepers. well, yeah, okay. It looks like Forster will be the man to get the job. But we gave a new 5-year contract to Dean Austin, and he didn't look that bad in the preseason friendly. So I think what you or Ash was saying, Ash was saying, yeah, play him in. Roma will be a tough game, Rangers away, but we got some sort of relatively easier games in the Europa League. Yeah, give him a game. Let him play. It could be the making of him. And another advantage of that is that if he plays a regular load of games and then Vicario comes back, you've got a reliable backup that's had experience and had those games.
Totally.
Yes, I agree with what you said, David, about do you play him against Chelsea and Liverpool? That would be tough. But I think there's a strong case for giving him a few games at least. And the other thing I want to say is that I've seen it written. I won't say where, but I think we can all probably imagine where it's written that we won on Sunday because we didn't play Ange ball, we played Conte ball. Okay, which I think is total garbage for a start. But the other thing I would say to that is that at the Etihad, Ange drew 3-3 last season and won 4-0 this season. Conte, admittedly, won 3-2 at the Etihad, but the following season we were 2-0 up at half time. We lost 4-2. So Ange's record at the Etihad is better than Conte's. Wow. So all this talk about we won because we played Conte ball, not Ange ball. I just think it's garbage.
Conte blew the lead and Ange didn't. Yeah,
it's like let's give the guy some credit, for Christ's sake. It's getting. To be fair, I did actually wonder.
Credit through gritted teeth a lot of times.
Yeah,
it seems like.
after Sunday's win on the Monday on Sunday, sorry, forgetting when it was there. I did actually think, I wonder what they're going to find wrong with that now, because Man United away 3-0. Oh, it's not Man United. They're pretty rubbish. Villa 4-1. Oh, they're pretty rubbish away. I thought, I wonder what they're going to say about beating Man City 4-0, and that's obviously what they're going to say. So no, it's not Ange at all. No. It's just because we played the way that Conte plays. That's why we won.
Well, look, let's not get ahead of ourselves, because we could be sitting there with egg on the face on next weekend. So enjoy it while it's here, but let's not get carried away. I think if they could start doing it back to back, then we can can all hopefully celebrate in unison. Because at the end of the day, look, results is what's going to bring people on board. At the end of the day, people are entitled to their opinion, pay more enough money to support this club, but results are what will bring people on board at the end of the day. Yeah. Look, I keep saying this: we don't care about tactics; it's all huff and fluff. We just care about winning games of football. So we win that, people will get on board. But Brad, Christmas is my favorite time of the year, so I think you might be trying to seduce me or something. But you're putting up Christmas songs? Yeah,
I'm doing my third Christmas song called "Rocking Christmas." I laid down the guitar tracks tonight. You can probably see in the background some guitars. That's why I've got this new sort of view. So I've got my workstation set up here. It's all like there. So I finished work and then started doing that. So hopefully I'll have that uploaded on Friday, the 6th of December. If not that Friday, the following Friday. And it's just basically a quite basic, simple rock and roll Christmas song. Hopefully. It always sounds better in here than when it comes out. But yeah. So
same for Dave and I.
Yeah, I'll let you guys know as soon as it was.
So what we're saying is basically, Spurs fans, get over, subscribe, and then we all need to share it, because Brad's such a great person. Let's try and see what we can do for Christmas #1 this year.
Yeah, I love a bit of ambition. I'm really going to plug this song once it's out. I'm really going to plug it and send it to various people.
Send it our way, and we'll be happy to put it in the community section.
And then hopefully I'll sort of break my views on it. The amount of views I get, which is always a good thing. But as always, guys, thanks for giving me the opportunity.
My pleasure.
Thanks for being class as always, Brad. Appreciate it, man.
I'll see Jack. I'll see you, Jack, tomorrow.
You and I are on Adrian's
show. So
I'll see you tomorrow, Brad.
Brad, you sit back, relax, kick up, have a beer, and listen to Glory, Tottenham Hotspur, man. All right.
Celebrate everything, guys.
Celebrate everything. Well done, Brad. Come on, you Spurs.
See you later. Take care, guys.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Show some love to Blue Sofa songs, please, everybody.
Yeah, please do. And look, let's see how far we can push it. It'll be absolutely brilliant. Let's make Brad's Christmas. But big up, everybody. Really appreciate everybody still tuning in. A lot of people not happy in the chat, Jack, with the whole Vicario situation.
No.
You know, it just feels like just when we have something to be happy about, you know, it's like they take something from beneath us, you know, sweep our feet from underneath us. It's absolutely
all we want is
annoying.
10 minutes per guest to just gloat about a 4-0 win. But no,
We
after
not-
every we have
48
to do,
hours to enjoy the win. You know, it can be 48 hours.
but now we
Then
have
I
to
can
ask
come back
every
down to
single
reality.
person about it. You have to ask every person about it. I'm even thinking, like, do we even change the YouTube title now? You know, it's just we can't have anything for more than 48 hours, like you said, Dave. Ridiculous.
So annoying. You know, at least let me be in my delusion for 48 hours before I can come back down to reality. But look, let's keep it moving. A lot of Spurs fans want to come on and happy clap tonight. So who are we going to next, Jack?
I think we're going on to Allan, Rakdos Madness. Then we have Michael afterwards. Then Chris, Kiwi Spurs coming on later. And a few others after that. Looking forward to this.
Nice. We got Pery, Donovan, and Paul as well. Nice. Happy days. Let's keep it going. So let's bring on Al. Al, how are you keeping, sir?
Doing well. How are you guys?
Yeah,
doing really well. We're just
trying to enjoy myself, or was enjoying myself into the news.
Yeah. Hello to the chat. Hello to everybody. What a game we had on Saturday. I think what I saw from my point of view is a team that for the first 10 minutes tried the high line kind of all out attack. It didn't work. And we saw Ange do something that I'd been clamoring for, which was kind of allow the defense to take a step back, soak up more of that pressure from Man City. We bossed the midfield, and we were hitting them on the counterattack, where they were very, very vulnerable because they just don't have the legs anymore to keep up with our speed in the front. And it was glorious.
So you're of the opinion then that Ange changed from his usual style of play and played differently for this Man City game then?
Yeah, I think, yes. I think what we saw out of the players as opposed to the Ipswich game, I think in the Ipswich game, we saw a bit of frustration with everybody, with Ange, with the players. And I got a feeling, just like in an office environment, again, these are all employees and manager and whatnot, or coach. And when you have disgruntled employees, the coach, kind of on the coach, kind of get everybody in, let's huddle up, let's discuss, let's try to come together and come with, to some sort of meeting of the minds. And I felt like that happened yesterday, where the players seemed happy even when they got out on the pitch. And it seemed like there was a new plan, and everyone seemed excited about this new plan. And you could see it in the way they played. They were playing like they were excited to play in this system. They were excited to play for the fans. They were excited to play for the coach. They were excited to play for themselves. And it showed in the 4-0 win.
Yeah, look, I'm of the opinion, I completely disagree that Ange changed these sort of tactics and all, but you are of that opinion. So my question is to you, to make maybe someone like me maybe more understand. What parts of the new system did he do that we need to continue to do going forward?
I think he just adjusted to the game. It seemed like the way we've been playing, we had one strategy, which is, and I'll come back to it. We had one strategy, and come hell or high water, we were going to play that high line. And yes, he may make substitutions that might work out pretty well, but overall, if you're going to play in the same style all game, you're going to get punished because another team is going to tweak and adapt to the play style, and then they're going to counter, whatever it is, counterattacking, ticky-tack, however they were going to play. And I think with Ange Saturday, he allowed them to change up their play to adapt to Man City. And I think what it exposed is Pep has one play style. And we exposed that. When Pep doesn't have the players, like the cream of the crop, as the Macho Man used to say, he didn't have the output. He really didn't. They played the same way the entire game, and all we did was counterattack, hit them on the counterattack, hit them on the counterattack, and we bossed the midfield, which is, I think, critical.
Here for me is where maybe we can sort of meet in the middle, because I do think we're on polar opposites there. But here's where I think we can maybe meet in the middle. I do concede there were some periods in the game where Spurs did sit into a nice compact shape. But what I'm trying to figure out, how much of that is tactical and how much of that is just reaction to how much possession Man City usually have per game.
You know, we're known to have a lot of, I think the Spurs are known to have a lot of possession. We have the highest, I think, number of goals in the season. We haven't allowed many goals at all. We haven't been blown out this season. I think that, I guess, specifically against Man City, it was a bit of both. I think even if Ange gave the players the freedom to adapt in the middle of the game, this happened once or twice before. I think it was against Aston Villa. We adapted mid-game, and then the question was, did Ange do that, or was that the players? I'd like to think it's Ange giving the players the freedom to do what they think is right. And I think that's something that Ange has talked about before. You know, he doesn't like to do a lot of coaching on the sideline because he wants the players to take control and execute what they think is right. And I think that maybe that message may have been reiterated on Saturday, because we absolutely did. I mean, I've never seen Dragishin kick a ball that far all the way up to Kulusevski, who will then put it on a plate for Maddison for that first goal. I got to call out Dragishin for that, because I've been kind of very difficult on Dragishin. You know, and I think that was just indicative of the differences we're hopefully going to see going forward.
Well, look, hopefully. Jack, you any more questions for Al? I feel like I've taken up all the airtime at Al.
I think we'll maybe look to get Al on another time and to, you know, talk about maybe some of the tactics, but we do have other topics we have to get across to you, man. What did you make of Maddison's performance? Because just a week ago, Al, you were on a show with us and we were talking about discontent in the squad, you know, there being beef with Ange, players maybe weren't on the same page with him. What did you make of that performance? You know, the fact that, you know, just earlier, you and I and Dave and I believe Sam, we were all talking about maybe that people were starting not to buy into the Ange thing anymore.
You know, with Maddison, kind of like my wife, doesn't have a poker face, I don't think. You can kind of tell his mood just by the look on his face. And I think he not only, you know, birthdays come and go, and he may have been up for his birthday, but I think he was probably happy. He looked happy, first and foremost. And I don't think that was a birthday thing. I think that was I'm finally feeling more confident with my head coach and with my team, and where I sit or where he sits in the team. And it showed on the playing field. It really did. He didn't look frustrated in play. I mean, he was all over the place. He got by that, Silva put him down on the ground. You know, they couldn't cope with him, and they were just getting frustrated with him. It takes a special kind of talent to dink off of your wrong foot, like he did to Ederson for the second goal. And so his skills were definitely on display, but he was all over the place, and he was playing with confidence. So I think what we saw, the lineup, you know, with Kulu up on the right wing and Matters in the middle, I think that was a very strong lineup, and I hope we continue lining up something like that going forward. And with regard to, go ahead.
No, work away.
I was just going to say, with regard to, because I was going to change the topic. Go ahead.
No, work away. I was just going to say quickly, I sort of agree. I think, you know, heading into that Fulham game, providing everyone's available, the other 10 outfield players, bar Vicario, I think need to stick the same for sure. But go on, what we change the topic to, my man?
Vicario, we don't have we don't have a choice, right? He's going to be out for quite a while. I fractured my ankle about 6 weeks ago. I'm quite a bit older than Vicario, so hopefully he heals a lot faster. Although
I hope so.
with the benefits of the Spurs medical, he may be out for quite a while. So in the summertime, I was clamoring for a backup goalie. No one really heard me. Not that anyone there would have heard me, but it was never a topic that was brought up. But it is such a kryptonite for us. At any time, if Vicario got injured, we were screwed because we really don't have. We have the overexperienced Fraser Forster, who's well beyond his prime and is a tree in goal. And then we have Brandon Austin, and we have these youths that are basically untested. So we needed an experienced person. Look what Liverpool did. Allison is out. They got Kelleher. And Kelleher is no slouch. I would take Kelleher. If we didn't have Vicario, I'd have Kelleher as our main goalie.
To be fair, didn't Kelleher come through their academy though? He was at their academy before, and they sort of blooded him in cup games and that. He was already at Liverpool.
That's true. No, you're right about that. But the goal was, the trick is to have someone of real quality in the backup. Man United have done that for years. They had when they had De Gea, and then they had, was it Henderson behind him, or they've had
Henderson,
good
other guy there as well.
Yeah. Was it Dean Henderson? Is that who it was?
Yeah, there was Dean Henderson, and there was someone else. But you're right. They did have a couple of decent backups around.
Yeah, they have backups. Teams that really want to win should have a backup in every position for depth. And Vicario being out at this point is crushing, just crushing. I don't know how you guys are feeling about it.
Look, I think personally, I think it's just not ideal. I think it could come back to have a huge effect on us. I don't think. Yeah. Like I said, I don't think, Vicario gets the recognition for the amount of saves that he pulls off to sort of help keep us in games. I don't think he gets enough credit for the pressure that he takes off the back line, being able to receive that ball and take it, the trust that they have in him. That's not going to be there with Fraser Forster. And when that's not there, all of a sudden it becomes a bit of nerves. And that's the last thing you want as a goalkeeper and a centre-back. Nerves alone will lead to mistakes. So that's my biggest concern about it, lad. But look, time will tell. He can come in. Look, I've seen wonderful things before. Hopefully he can come in for these 8 games, produce something that he hasn't shown in a long time, and save our skin. But look, let's wait and see. But Al, what's going on over here at Team Tottenham Go, lad?
Tomorrow I'm going to be on the Spurs Danalist channel.
Nice.
And then at that point, I'm going to be off for a little while. But I have my little one's got a birthday coming up, and we got Thanksgiving here in America coming up. So I'll be on. Yeah, busy time. So, but I'll be back. We'll get back to it once, probably for the Fulham game.
Nice, man. Nice, Allan.
Well, look. Enjoy the birthday celebrations. Wish her a happy birthday for myself, Jack. And look, I probably won't see you. I might not speak to you in person before. Well, this isn't in person, but it's as in person as you can get before Thanksgiving. So you enjoy yourself, my man. Have a good one.
Thank you, guys.
Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, Allan. And
love to the Irish Hotspur.
Please don't go on any runs. Avoid the snakes if you can, please.
Yeah, I will. Come on, you Spurs. Love to the Irish Hotspur. Take it easy, guys.
Big up, Al. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you, Allan.
Absolute legend. Really enjoyed that conversation. It's nice when you do get someone with different opinions, and you can sort of just, hear them out and stuff. I do enjoy that. And by the way, guys, please get over and check out Team Tottenham Go, Allan's channel, and hear what he has to say. So big up, Allan. We got a members chat here from Iceman, member for 15 months. Good time to use this. Love the content, Jack and Dave. Hence why I have been here so long, mate. Continue for many years. Smash that like all. Look, really appreciate it, my man. Thank you very much. It's nice to know that, when you do these sort of things, that it is reciprocated and people do love it. You can never hear too much of that. So I really do appreciate that, Iceman, because, look, sometimes you sit there and you think, the people really care and, stuff like that. So it's nice to hear, Iceman. Thank you very much, buddy.
Oh, thanks, Iceman. Thanks for tolerating, especially me, because I know that I've always found ways to annoy you, whether it's fantasy or somehow accidentally ignoring you or whatever it might be, Iceman. So you've been very, very good to Dave and I. Really appreciate your support. And thanks for being with us for over a year now. Long, long time. People are really racking up the months on these memberships, and we're very, very appreciative of it. And also just thanks for a kind endorsement of just the channel and everything. Very kind of you, man.
Really appreciate it, lad. We've got Sam in the chat as well. Good to see you, Sam. Hopefully you're keeping well. We also have Neil in here. Good evening, gents. I hope you're all well. This is going to be testing times now. Vic is out. Yeah. Now this time we will see how we adapt and play. Austin, come on, you Spurs. Well, look, I think we'll definitely put out a poll about that somewhere on one of our socials to see who people would prefer heading into, the Roma game and the Fulham game. It'd be interesting to see, because I don't think there is a lot of people that are just sold on Fraser Forrester, so it'll be interesting to see. Big up Steve D. Hi lads, hope you're all both well. I mean, how can you not be well after 4-0 win at the Etihad? How can you not be well? Absolutely love it. And he says, remember the days we debated the previous manager? It was always light-hearted. YouTube has become very divisive and unpleasant now, unfortunately. Do you know what? Look, I think do you know what it is? I think it comes with the inconsistency, Steve D, because it's so up and down, Jekyll and Hyde. No matter where you go, everyone has their own opinions, which rightly so they should have. But I think if Spurs were a lot more consistent, or were just pure shit, I think no matter where you tuned in, I think a lot of people in essence would have different things to say, but would sort of be saying, singing off the same hymn sheet. So I think that does come with the up and down. And to be honest with you, I do think there was a lot. I've seen it under comments on some of the stuff we put out on others, and I don't think it's fair where, people are like, oh, now you love Ange, this, that, and the other. At the end of the day, instead of all that jazz, I do think if you are a big backer of Ange, explain to people why you think he is good for the job, rather than just go out there berate them and stuff like that. Because I've seen comments, for instance, Johnny's fan cam, people, oh, you're not a real supporter. The guy goes home and away and goes to under 21 games. You know what I mean? Let's have a bit of balance around here. But Steve D, look, it's the new world we live in as well, innit? You're not allowed to be in the middle or sit on the fence. So not even that. You're just not allowed to bring any balance to the conversation. The way the world is, you got to be one or the other, my man. But I do understand what you're saying.
What's funny is I thought, you and I, our conversations used to be pretty spicy about the manager, Steve D. And now in hindsight, it feels like ours were quite tame, actually, over sort of our disagreements over Conte and whatnot. So maybe it just shows that probably we had it right back in the day. We struck that sort of fine balance, I guess, or we struck that accord, between it, being, good debate and it going too far. But I don't know, Steve, I do agree with you, man. I do agree with you.
Big up, Steve. And then we got John Lee. Every team we play now, without Vic there going to pressure our defense and either Forrester or another keeper. And look, 100%, but look, they do that anyway, even if we have Vicario, Romero, Van de Ven, to be brutally honest with you. They do that anyway. But I think you're right in essence. It does inevitably invite them to do it a hell of a lot more. Like, to be honest, if I'm a striker even, I don't even need my manager to tell me this. If Fraser Forrester's in goal and there's a ball going back to him, every time I'm relentlessly pressing that. I'm straight on it because I know he's going to make a mistake and he's going to give me an opportunity. I don't even need my manager to tell me that. So I think, we'll definitely invite some sort of problems. But look, the only way to get out of it is to prove to people that you can't do it. So hopefully Fraser Forrester can do that, John Lee. Let's wait and see, my man. But look, let's keep this moving. The next guest we have on is
Michael.
Michael, let's bring him on. Let's hear what he has to say. Big up, Mick. How are you keeping this evening?
Is he deflated by the news? It looks like you are.
Oh, the Vicario
news.
I was going to say, what's wrong with you, lad? It's not about the Vicario news there momentarily.
This club, guys, it's like, when I said, I've been saying past 3 weeks, like repeatedly, whenever you feel good about this cup, it kicks you in the nuts, like straight on, right? Like no painkillers, just straight through the crack. Like it's so disheartening. Like I don't know. Okay, I will talk about Vicario at the end, right? I really want to talk about this game, right? And I really want to talk about this performance that we put in on the weekend, right? Because I've recently, after a few games, I came on here and talked with you guys that I was like really critical about the team and about the manager, right? And
I think everybody was.
I know, but I've even seen some like comments or in the chat saying that I'm maybe a bit too harsh or whatever, right? And I want to say that I still stand by the criticism I gave, because I think at the time it was right to criticize the things I did. I never went on a tirade, calling Ange fat, whatever, or, or just, being rude or whatever. I think the criticism I gave was based on what I saw, right? And I have to say that what happened on the weekend was basically everything I wanted to see, right? I kid you not. It's every single point that I put out there that I didn't like was fixed on the weekend, right? And I can really go into details. I've said that I want our wing backs to be playing wider. They did, right? I want us to protect the. Yeah, I think
the average positions, though, Michael, from the game, they're still inverted.
Yeah, but you know, at least for me, it felt especially with Poro, I felt he was more that when he attacked, he was more out wide. I felt that they were interchanging with Kulusevski, right? But I felt he was giving more of an option out wide to Kulusevski rather than inside. Or in general, I think we played wider. That's the feeling I got, right? It's because usually we have Son and Johnson who are kind of trying to tuck in, and then we have the inverted wing backs who try to tuck in, and we really crowd out the middle of the pitch. That's how I felt right? And at least against City, I felt we weren't doing it as much, which I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the fact that we had a double pivot of Bissouma and Sarr, who were actually protecting the back line. But also they, at least for me, I think they were tasked with man marking Gundogan and Rico Lewis. I think whenever one of those two got the ball, we were instantly pouncing on them, which was another point that I made, that I really want us to prepare for the opposition and look at their weaknesses, not only about the things that we do well, which I really enjoyed. And Vicario was strong on the set pieces, and generally I really liked his performance. We actually most of all, we allowed a lot of space for Maddison, and I think we moved him a bit more up top, especially in the first half, where he could perform that shadow striker role. And
has he not done that before though at Tottenham though? This is where I disagree. People are that shadow striker role where he's made them runs. I can pull back up countless of chances he's had over the top in previous games. It's not new. He's done this before.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's what I felt. I felt he was more involved, closer to the penalty box rather than dropping back as much as as he did, right? Buy Alisson, that's all. I wish we could buy Alisson, right? But no, but on Vicario, in general, I enjoyed the fuck out of this performance. I have to say, from minute 10, let's be honest, first 10 minutes I was a bit first 10 I was shaky, right? But after that, since minute 10 to minute 94 or whatever it was when the game finished, I enjoyed every single minute of that performance. And it wasn't a fluky win. It wasn't sometimes we won against City 1-0 where we scored on the counter and we all said that we've robbed them, right? I think this time we completely deserved to win, and I feel personally that was one of the best wins we've had under Ange. And as I said, I think maybe we can agree on or disagree on certain things, but I saw a lot of improvement and a lot of things that I wanted to see. But the thing is, right, the thing I really wanted to say, right, is we need to follow this up with another win, right? Because if we lose to Fulham on the weekend, then this win is pretty much meaningless, right? I know we've beaten City and all that stuff, nobody is taking away from it, right? But beating Fulham and beating City is still 3 points, right? You still gain 3 points no matter who you beat, right?
Yeah,
so
I agree.
We are actually laughing with my girlfriend that we said that beating City 4-0 should equate to 6 points instead of 3, right? But losing to Ipswich at home should equate to -3 instead of 0. So we are basically still on the same level. Right?
I agree.
But in all seriousness, right? If we don't beat Fulham, then it's like
It was for nothing.
it's not a meaningless win, but it just takes away from the win, right? Because we go back to the same like criticism I've had, right? And I really want to stress this. I don't want to have this like bipolar reaction, every single weekend, right? It's one weekend it's everything good, second weekend it's everything shit, right? And what am I supposed to do? I sound like a bipolar mental health issue person, right? Who just can't decide which way I want to, describe this team. But unfortunately, this is how I see it, right? But I want to stress this again. This City performance, brilliant. I couldn't believe what was happening. I was telling my girlfriend to pinch me like every 10 minutes because I didn't not that I didn't want to believe, but I didn't try really, I was seeing like a 3-0 scoreline at the Etihad. I was like, what? When was the last time they lost like this, right? Turns out last time they lost 4-0 was like 2002 or something like that, right? At their own ground. So it's like, we did something historic. I'm not taking away from this, right? But we really need to follow this up. And now Vicario, right? Now the Vicario.
Yes, what's your thoughts, lad? And who do you go with? Are we assuming it's just automatically going to be Fraser Forster, or do you think Postecoglou could throw a spanner in the works here?
I think it will be Forster. I'm not happy with it, right? I think, I don't know. I have a strong case for saying that I am more mobile than Forster, right?
I would say you are. I would say you are.
I don't do a lot of sports, right? And I think I have a strong case to say that I would get down to ground faster than him, right?
Yeah, it's Michael, someone just tweeted that if Forster starts diving tonight, he might make his first save by Fulham's first shot, on Sunday.
Yeah, it's like Forster has like set pieces are definitely his strong point, right? But like passing out from the back, passing back out from the back, he's dreadful, right? Like going down to ground, he's dreadful, right? It's like I don't know. Like I honestly hope we start Austin. But I don't think it will happen, right? And I even like.
Could you make a case for Gunter, the young academy kid, or do you think that's too far?
Frankly speaking, I'm going to say I have never watched him. I don't really watch academy, so like I don't want to make like judgments on him because I think you guys are more like educated with that, right? But I even went on to look like on the transfer market who are the free agent signings currently available, and pretty much the only one that I really knew was Keylor Navas, but he's like 37 himself or like 38, which is
it's not really improved.
Other than that, it's like pretty much a bit of a no-name list. So I'm not even sure we can sign a free signing goalkeeper, right? But I hope that the club will go out there and either like promote Austin to the second spot or buy someone in the winter, right? Because by the way, I just googled, apparently like fractured ankle is like 3 to 4 months, right? It's not going to be like 2 weeks.
Why did they say 8 weeks then? I think the time frame people are giving is 8 weeks, right?
So I've seen that it's like it was like 4 to 9 weeks or something like that when it's just like a fractured ankle, but you don't need an operation. But at least Google told me that if it's a fracture and you had an operation, it like the article was of course saying like not necessarily about like sportsmen, right? But it said that for a normal person, if you have a fractured ankle and you take an operation, it takes you like 9 weeks to start driving again. So you can drive a car, you can start like running or jogging, right? It's like it takes a lot of time. So I think the best case scenario is like 2 months at least, in my opinion. That's the best case scenario, and the worst one is like 4 to 5, right? So I think we have to buy someone. Yeah, go on, Dave. Sorry.
No, do you know what? I'm in agreement with you. I think we probably will have to dip our toes in because regardless of the time frame the medical department give, I don't believe it. So, definitely add another 4 or 5 weeks on top of that, definitely, which probably brings you to around your 3 months, which is probably more, 3 or 4 months, which is probably more correct. Look, it's just stressful times. Hopefully one of the goalkeepers can just seize the moment. That would be absolutely brilliant. But Michael, I've really enjoyed the discussion this evening, my man. Thank you very much for your time, and we'll speak to you again soon.
Guys, 4-0 at the Etihad. I was shocked.
I still can't believe that.
Absolutely mad. Yeah, it's like I am watching highlights on repeat, right? It's like
Yeah.
No, you absolutely
Yeah,
need to.
I can't believe it, man.
Great job as always,
Michael.
Michael.
Really enjoyed this. Thank you very much.
cheers, guys. Cheers,
Great
guys.
job
The
as
next
always,
one
sir.
is not as bad with Vicario.
Come on,
Yeah,
you
Foster
more
steps up
conversations,
for
more
Austin.
drama as always. We always find a way to
Yeah.
find the drama. Big up,
Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah.
See you, sir.
See you, guys. Bye bye.
Have a
See
good
you
one.
there, lad.
Come on, you Spurs.
Oh, I really enjoyed that conversation from Michael. I keep telling him he needs to sort of create his own channel, but he
Yeah.
doesn't do it. I don't know why.
We're
But
sending
big
the
up,
fan
Michael.
cams, Michael. Send in the fan cams. I know people would watch them. People love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. No, big up, Michael. Jed, before we keep moving, just Beyond 72 says play Michael in Europa and Forrester in the league game. You might get down for that. You've got Jamie. Good to see you in the house, sir. Good evening, Davy boy. I watched the City game on Sky, and when it was over, I watched the whole watch along straight after. Can't get enough. Do you know what? I really appreciate that. To be honest, once I've done the watch along, I don't even go back and watch it, you know. So fair play to you, Jay. I really appreciate the dedication, my man, and keep basking in the glory. Well, we were basking it until we were brought down to earth this evening, you know. It's typical, you know, there's always something that comes out, you know. It's absolutely annoying. Woodsy TV, good to see you. Fantastic win on Saturday. Now being overshadowed by the disgusting negligence of the goalkeeper situation. Fair point. Fair point, actually. And Steve D says, imagine how many more we would have put past City if Ange still had the dressing room on his side. Absolutely love that. Great comedy, my man. And then also big up to Leo Mile High Hotspur. Really appreciate support and the advice yesterday when I reached out. Thank you very much, my man. Really appreciate that. Guys, get over and check out his channel. If you want to see how Colorado Spurs like to get down and celebrate the goals when they go, and get over there and check it out. Big up Daniel Field as well in with us, and J-Mac still here, and everybody, Dr. Johnny Almatic. Too many. I started something I can't get out of. Now I have to mention everybody in the chat, so I apologize. But look, let's keep it going. Time is of the essence. Where are we off to next? Let me check our list.
I believe it's time for the GOAT.
Chris.
We're bringing in Chris.
Let's bring him on. You ready, Chris? Thumbs up. Yep. Well, yep. Perfect. How are you, Chris? How are you keeping?
Evening, lad. Evening, lad. Good evening. David, there's a player I'm going to have to praise here, and I'm going to have to turn my camera off because I don't want to do it live.
Go on, Ben Davies.
1 second. I'm going to turn my camera off because I have to do it. I can't do it on camera because I'm embarrassed.
So this isn't going to be Chris.
Oh.
This is an anonymous person calling in. We'll just
Right,
pretend it's not your name.
I'm going to praise Ben Davis. He actually played
He's
well
on
on
mute.
Sunday. On Saturday, I'm not mute.
Sorry, Chris, just before I let you off, Faz Radfar 3-1 Spurs. I missed this, and I do apologize. Thank you for holding me to my standards, Faz Radfar. That's what the players need in the dressing room. You know, sometimes I'm the motivator, but who motivates the motivator? Well, we know it's Faz Radfar. So I appreciate that, my man. He says, my friend surgeon says ankle fracture. He's out for the season. Oh, Chris, before we let you go off and praise Bren Davies, you might have to turn your camera back on for a couple of seconds. Just get your thoughts along with Faz Radfar here on the goalkeeper situation.
David, I won't leave Vicario for last because I'm trying to find my football boots and my shirt to go down and replace him. So I can't watch Forster.
Trying to find your gloves.
I'm finding my boots and my gloves. I'm getting dust them down because watching Forster is going to be painful.
Well, Chris, you need to find some old Spurs goalkeeper kits if you have any, in the dresser.
I'm going to have to find my old Ian Walker kit from years ago, just so I can go. Can't be doing before stuff. But let's forget about him for now. What a performance on Saturday, eh? Got a few little other facts for you. Man City have not lost a home game in 52 games. We ended that run. Another little fact is we started off their run by beating them 2-1 and they lost 5 in a row since.
Yeah.
Us twice.
We're their kryptonite. We continue to pursue misery on them.
And we're the first team to put 4 goals against them as well, against a pet team in the Premiership.
Yeah. Madness. And the first one since Real Madrid since 2014, lad, to beat them by a 4-goal margin.
Exactly. I swear the Google lot was celebrating that 1-1 draw when they parked the bus against them.
Oh, Arsenal, yeah. Actually, Chris, they got a lot of credit, actually. The media were fawning over the 11 men on the bus they had in a perfect line. Absolutely fawning over it, praising it and stuff like that. And, that's the resilience you have to go and show when you go to Man City.
No,
But, I mean, we went and
struggled.
steamrolled them, but there doesn't seem to be as much praise about or breakdown about how we went and absolutely dismantled them.
You know, David, I'll tell you what, yeah, that wasn't just an individual performance from like Kulu and Madison. That was a whole team performance. That was the whole team performance. It was a total performance. Do you know, in fact, we could have had 5 goals against City. Had Slanky played in Johnson instead of Kulu, that was an easy goal for 5. That would have been 4-0. And then Johnson would have got his the second as well for his 5th goal. But hey, what can you do to that? But at the end of the day, yeah, I'm happy we got 3 points.
Well, I can see I've never seen that T-shirt on you before.
Oh, my Tottenham! This is my Tottenham.
I love it.
Big Tottenham.
He was like, "Let me find the biggest crest I can find." to rock the streets of Newcastle.
Just so we just get the record straight, we now own Manchester. We own Manchester now. Both Manchester teams have been taken apart by us, so we own Manchester.
Yeah, and Chris, you're up north, so maybe anytime you rock up in Manchester, you should expect, they roll out the table for you, get the red carpet out. You're a Spurs fan. You own that city.
Well, I'm traveling back down south in a few weeks. I might just pass there and just give them a little wave. You'll drop a few Tottenham shirts down for them.
Just stand out, as the train is making it stop. Just go out onto the platform and just wear that same shirt you're wearing now, and no one will bother you.
But Jack, it's ironic here that Pep signed a 2-year contract, 2-year extension to his contract. 2 days later, he gets slapped 4-0.
Isn't that crazy though, Chris? Like all of the things that could have fed into the Man City momentum, right? The fact that they hadn't won a game in a long time, that's already bad news for Spurs. Dr. Tottenham could show up in that scenario. Pep Guardiola, new contract. So many different things. They had all these new returning players back from injury. The center backs all came back from injury. They had so many reasons to basically win that game and for us to probably not show up. But we beat them 4-0, man. I mean, it's just ridiculous, actually, when you think of it.
The first 10 minutes, I was like, oh, God, here we go again.
Yeah.
Right? But I'll start asking a question. Has anybody found Marlon yet? Has he come out of Ben Davies' pocket? Has he been found yet? Well, the search party's still looking for him.
Davies has big pockets because Holland's a big guy, but he went missing.
Holland just didn't know what to do. At the end of the day, that was a total team performance from the defence to the midfield to the forwards. And all those ones who were saying, sell Kulu, where are you now?
Yeah, Dave and I were talking about that earlier, Chris. I mean, the guy, he's looking like probably the most prized possession.
Kulu Messi.
Kulu Messi, and wouldn't be surprised if we get some Bayern Munich rumors over the summer.
The thing is, all the ones on Twitter, are an ex. Oh, sell Kulu, he's not good enough. Now they're all kissing his ass. Come on, mate. No.
Is the Kulu train already left the station? You can't get on the Kulu train?
Yeah, no, it's too late. You missed the train. You missed the time for it. You should have given him at the start of the season. But 1 or 2 bad games towards the start of the season, and they all wrote him off. Now look at him. He's one of our best players, if not the best player we have.
What's his best position, though, Chris, when you look at him?
Oh, it's difficult because he can play in the number 10 role and he can play on the wing. So it's difficult to
and he can play up front. Anyway. Score goals last year up there too.
Exactly. See, I'll tell you, the position he was playing on Saturday, where he could operate on both wings, was the perfect position for him. Because for the first goal, he was on the left hand side. Sorry, the right hand side. Then on the second goal, he was on the left hand side when he played towards Solanke for Pery's goal. So the 2 assists. Well, it says it all, doesn't it? But we can't fault it. It was a team performance. And I don't think Ange did anything too different to what we normally do. There maybe been 1 or 2 slight little tweaks where the fullbacks were getting forward, but not getting forward as far as they would normally go. But so they're still keeping their defensive responsibilities. But it was a total performance. We can't fault it. Now the bad news for Vicario.
Here's where I struggle with the narrative of. Here's where I struggle with the narrative of the change. It's like everyone calls him stubborn. He won't change. They know he's not going to change. And then all of a sudden we win a game. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's just changed. I don't understand it personally. Look, I actually don't think he changed too much. I actually think it comes down to the attitude of the players. I think there was definitely some camaraderie there to go out and try and prove a point that maybe that rumor that was put out over the international break was wrong. And therefore, I think that's when you see everyone playing Ange ball the way it's supposed to be played. Everyone's tuned in and how good it can be. And that's why I think we see the inconsistencies down to the attitudes of the players personally. I don't think he'd done anything drastic.
Dave, that's what that's not what I'm saying, though. I'm not saying he made these massive
No, I
changes.
know.
Where I'm just saying he made maybe little tweaks, just a little adjustment from where we saw we were going wrong against Ipswich. It was going like, right, so that was wrong. So let me just adjust these two pairs slightly, bring them back a little bit. So yes, they can still bomb down the wing, but just have them there as a bit of defensive stability, and it worked. Odin was taken out of the game, most of the game by Porro and Dragosin. Holland is still in Ben Davies' pocket somewhere. I don't know where he is. Udoji as well played extremely well. Bissouma scared the life out of me after 5. But you know what, Dave? Bissouma scared the life out of me after 5 minutes getting booked. I thought, oh crap! No, not again.
I think we're all feeling the same emotions, Chris.
I was like, oh crap, not again. But it was for me. It was just a perfect performance, and we ruined the Ballon d'Or celebrations for him as well, didn't we?
Yeah. They had the new contract. They were buoyed by that, and then also Rodri's pre-match Ballon d'Or presentation as well. We absolutely spoiled it, and I can tell you,
oh yeah. We started Man City's run, and we continued it as well in style.
Yeah, no, it's great.
But David, now the bad news with Vicario. Oh Christ, I don't know what to say. I told you, I'll bring my gloves out, I'll bring my shirt out, I'll bring my boots out, I'll go and go myself. I can't deal with 4 stuff.
Look, I'm not sure you can do any worse than what Fraser did against Galatasaray, to be brutally honest with you.
Even my dodgy knees, mate, I'll still probably get down to the ground quicker than him.
One could argue his Coventry City performance was even worse.
I might fall down to the ground. I might not dive. I might fall down, but I'll get down to the ground quickly. You know what I'm saying? But no, it's all seriousness. I think we need to give Austin or Whiteman a chance.
Are they good enough as well, though? Like, if I realistically, right, if I'm Ange Postecoglou, I can turn to 2 guys that have never played Premier League football in their life, or I can turn to a guy that has a lot of Premier League football behind them.
No, David, not in the Premiership. Yeah, I have to say, I think Forster will have no choice but to play in the Premiership. We have no choice for that. Unfortunately, we have no choice. Unless we can get an emergency goalkeeper on loan, which isn't going to happen. Right?
I wonder if there are rules. You never know.
I don't know. Is there anybody out there who can take out an emergency loan? What, bring Brad Frieda out of retirement?
Get Gazaniga back.
Some people are saying Keylor Navas is available as a free agent.
37. It's 37, Jack.
Yeah.
I mean, Fraser Forster feels like he's 50, the way that he's playing. So, I think we could take a spry 37-year-old.
Yeah, that is true, But I'm 42 and I'll still put a better performance in than the Forster, I'm saying.
Who can get down quicker?
Vicario 8 weeks out, that's going to be a pain. That is going to be an absolute nightmare. And
how long do you think he's going to be out for? Because, Mikey came on and said he's looking up, it could be 4 weeks. Baz Radfar says a fracture. His friend who's a surgeon says he's out for the season. But the rumours were led to people 8 weeks. So how long do you think he's out for?
It depends on the stretch, the type of fracture it is. So it could be anywhere up from 4 to 12 weeks. Depending on what sort. If it's a stress fracture, it might be a less time. But if it's a full-blown fracture, he probably will be out for about 12 to 14 weeks, which will probably take him to the end of the season.
Well, I guess we'll have to have auditions, here at the IrishHotspur, see who the best goalkeeper is, and
send in your videos, send in your comps.
Yeah, get the gloves ready, dust down the boots.
Find my boots, dust my old Walker shirt down, and the old boots out, the old Theodora boots out, get them out and try again.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, Let's have a big come on, you Spurs, and we'll speak to you again soon. But it's good to see you so chirpy and happy, my man.
Yeah. Come on, you Spurs. And you know what? I forgot to do the housekeeping at the start. Smash a like and get your super chats in and support the Irish Hotspur.
Oh,
Love you, Chris. You're very good to us, man.
Come on, you Spurs.
Love you,
You know
Chris.
what? I absolutely love it. Like, you're right. What's the biggest cockerel I can find? Let's put it on display. I absolutely love that from Chris. The arrogance. It takes me back to the Poch days, whereas beforehand you're trying to, someone might overhear you go, "Oh, you're a Spurs fan," and you might spark a conversation. But with the Poch days, you look around, there was cockerels on hats, gloves, jackets, everything else. You knew who they were. So it's good to see, that arrogance from Chris after that City win. Big up, Chris. Really love that, my man. Fazrad Far, look. You know what? I'd probably take your friend's who's the surgeon word on it, because our medical department don't have the best track record, and that all the way from Darren Anderton's time all the way through to now, none has really changed. So I'd probably go with your friend who's a surgeon on that one, Faz.
Let us know if he's also looking for maybe a job at Tottenham Hotspur, in case he needs one, because we could probably use better professional medical opinions, from people like him. Big up Fazzy Rapfar. And I asked you in the chat too, in case you run into more trouble with the membership thing, just send Dave or I an email, and maybe we could try to figure it out with you sometime. Appreciate your support, man.
Faz. Legend, really appreciate it, my man. Always good to see Tim Man as well. He says, Chris the legend. Great to see you, Tim Man. And he says, don't worry, guys, Uncle Albert to the rescue and goal. Might have to roll him out there. You never know, Tim Man. Good to see you. Darius in the house as well. Big up Dave and Jack and everyone in the chat. We can't just enjoy the win long enough. Come on, you Spurs. We're not allowed. We're not allowed nice, shiny things at all, Darius. And then Sam says, Dave, where's my credit for Ben Davies? I've never wavered in my 6 out of 7 out of 10 from Ben Davies. Do you know what, Sam? Look, I'm going to praise him for this season, and I want Ben Davies fans to hear this before they say you hate the guy. I'm going to praise him for this season. I don't think he's put a foot wrong. I think he's been absolutely brilliant. However, I do have the burning question in the back of my mind. Are we only seeing this because he's playing for a contract at Tottenham Hotspur to be extended because it's that up at the end of the season? And let's face it, who wouldn't want 80 grand a week? Or is he playing for a move, somewhere else, which means off the back of a good season, he can collect as high money as he wants? Because when he was in the comfort zone, which is where I really see the true testament and character of a player, do you still perform? I would argue it was absent. So that's my skepticism around it, but all in all, I will praise him for what he's done this season. So let me know, Sam. Let me know your thoughts on that. Obviously, we're going to disagree on this. I know that, but that's just my opinion, lad. But big yourself up. And we've got this from Chris. He says, can't believe I had to praise Ben Davies. Do you know what? I can't either, but credit where credit's due. That's the way I operate. I've always operated like that. I'm never too staunch one side in my opinion. There are things that could change or sway my opinion, given new evidence of contrary to what I believe and stuff like that, And look, Ben Davies, I still argue, like Sam would probably go as far as calling him a club legend, for instance. I wouldn't, so, I still wouldn't go that far despite him having, a run of good games. But let's not forget, we're only early in the season. Let's not get carried away. There's still a lot of time. Let's see if it's consistent. I would argue it probably will be, because he needs a football club at the end of the season. But anyway, big up, Chris. Really appreciate the support, my man.
3 years as well. Absolute legend.
Yeah.
3 years,
absolute
36
legend. It's
months.
good to
Crazy.
see him back. Good to see him smiling as well. Absolute legend. But look, let's keep it moving, because we don't want to keep everybody waiting around for hours and hours and hours. I believe the next guest we have on is Kiwi Spurs TV. Let's get his proper name. I don't want to address him as Kiwi Spurs TV. Let's get his proper name. How you keeping, my man? How are you?
Hi guys, my name's Levon, but just been
Levon.
Levon, yeah.
Do you know what? I've never heard that before. So what a great name,
not
man.
many people have, man, but
Levon.
it's a name from a group called The Band, a rock band. The drummer's name was Levon, yeah. But anyway, fun fact.
Authenticity, I absolutely love that, lad. Well, look, Levon, what's your thoughts, on that performance yesterday? And look, in general, we don't get to speak all the time. So, what's your thoughts on what's going on around Tottenham in general, the divisive nature? Where do you stand on it all?
Yeah, man. Just to kind of caveat me, guys, I'm new to fans of football. I have been for about a year.
Your name's been in and around chats, though. I see you.
Yeah, I have been, but I've been so absorbed with football. I come from actually a rugby background, so I'm learning the game, and I've been really passionate about Spurs. So
Fuckers ruined our. You fuckers keep ruining our World Cup hopes, lad.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, guy. But yeah, I just learned a lot. But what I learned, I think about the game specifically yesterday, I thought it was going to the comments about what Ange was saying, or that the media was saying that there's fractures within the team and all that type of stuff. And I think more than anything, yes, you could argue that he changed some things, but ultimately he galvanized that team to believe and to perform. Like I think people get frustrated with what Ange ball might be. For some people, Ange ball is a high line, suicide ball. Some people it's inverted, fullback. Some people it's. I think we saw still all the elements of what Ange does. He does invert the fullback still. Maybe you could argue that the high line dropped back a bit, and maybe. But I ultimately feel that he just got everyone on the same page, and everyone was working together. You could see from a defensive standpoint, everyone was just locked in. They were all moving as one, like a unit. So I think I get where some people are coming from about that argument, but at the same time, I kind of see it as like it's changing. It's ever evolving with Ange. If you've been watching the detail, this isn't new what he did yesterday. It's been over a period of time on micro levels. I think that's where people get trapped, is that it's either one or the other. I think Ange has adapted things periodically and depending on the playing group that he has. Yeah.
Almost like little micro tweaks, here and there that eventually build up into something. Even one of them that I've picked up on in the past maybe season is just there are times when it feels like the shape that even we settle in, even if it's like a pretty high line, still the shape itself, I think, is just a lot more compact and a lot harder to break down. Like Dave and I were pointing out, it looked really hard actually for Man City to really get through Sarr and Basuma. It felt like any time they even tried to play pass through the middle, they would just get crushed by a tackle. And it just despite it being a high line, it's just there's like a certain sort of organization about it that did make it look very tough actually to break down or get around. And I've noticed that. Whereas last season, I would say it did look like a little bit kind of discombobulated and sometimes easy to get through us. Where past games, like we have a very solid shape defensively, which is a new thing.
I thought specifically Davies and Dragerson just released the ball quicker. I'm not sure if that's they just kind of got the ball up the field quicker, and I think we benefited from that. I think the change for Kulusevski was good too, because I suppose we were sitting back a bit more, and then Dragerson could throw that ball up and he could kind of hold the ball. Like I think that kind of benefited, as opposed to if you see a Johnson up there, you're not inclined to throw it up there to him. So I think moving Kulusevski there, I thought that was a great move and suited the style we were playing with. But I got to give credit to Davies, and I think they just got rid of the ball quick. Like there's no holding on. They got it down the sidelines and just kept moving. And I think if anything, Ange ball should be that. It should be quick movements, sharp, as opposed to sometimes Romero, Van de Ven, or whoever, they kind of sit on the ball a bit too much. And it's just like, that isn't what we should be doing. I thought, Davies and that did a really good job with that.
100%. I agree with you. And, on the Kulu thing, I definitely agree with you. At times, it did allow us to go a little bit more direct if needed, because you did have someone up there that effectively is similar to Dom Solanke, can hold it up, battle with people and stuff like that. That's not Brennan Johnson's game. You're absolutely spot on that, my man. So where do you sit on Ange altogether then at Tottenham Hotspur? Do you think it will work out for Tottenham if fans can sort of give Ange Postecoglou the patience? Now, look, I'm not naive to know that, results will ultimately bring people on board. That's what people care about. But where we're at right now and the vice of nature that's been around Postecoglou, is he right for this Tottenham job?
I think he's right as far as he's allowed to be given the time. I think Conte and guys, I haven't watched much before Conte and all that, but my understanding is those guys were high-level elite managers. And the criteria for them, I think, was a much shorter time frame. Now, if we say that Ange isn't at that level, we can disagree or agree. If he isn't, then he should be awarded a bit more leeway, and he shouldn't be, in my opinion, compared to those guys, because he's not of that caliber. Now, if he isn't of that caliber, then he should be supported through transfers, getting the guys the right signings to support his lack of, should we say, elite management. So I think it's hard to compare. People get in this thing of comparing Conte, and it's totally, it's different criteria. I think for me that even with transfers and the transfer window, as soon as the team's set, and that's what I've learned about football, is that once the team's locked in, everyone puts their parameters on Ange based on everything that happened in that summer transfer window. And it's almost like because maybe the transfer wasn't great, it's his fault, or they can't do anything about it until the next transfer. And I'm finding that very quite challenging because people want to keep banging on the door that he needs to go. There's a few kind of limitations and things that I'm finding. But I'm still very angry. But I just think he needed to be awarded the time. I mean, people are saying that this guy can't manage at this level, even on a one game. Like, if you didn't know who was managing those games yesterday and you looked at those teams and you were like, wow, who's this guy in the white? His team's pretty good. Like, you could say that he can manage at this level. What I found with the Premier League, though, it changes every week. Like, you got to be on the ball.
Yeah.
You got McKenna coming up, tweaking things. You got Pep. But I think the challenge everyone's finding is that teams are going through trends all the time. And we're catching teams either on a high, we're catching teams on a low. So you got to kind of be a bit more leveled in your analysis, I feel. But I'm very much still Ange, to be honest.
Really well said.
Well, and look, I don't buy into this. He can't manage at this level. He finished fifth last season, and some of the managers I hear, some people suggest or see some people suggest on socials, finished below him last season. So, I sort of struggled to wrap my head around that to a large degree. But like saying that, I do understand the skepticism because of the inconsistencies. But, I do think, hopefully, and this is where I hope, because this is something we actually spoke about over on Big Up when we were doing a tactical breakdown, which will be posted here tomorrow morning if anybody wants to tune in and have a look at it. But, there was a discussion that came up about, will this result make the board? And if this continues this trajectory, will the board then maybe pull back in January? That was maybe someone's concern, because I still think the leadership, I still think we need to sign a couple more experienced players. Do you think the board need to go out there in January and add to this squad? And if so, in what positions?
Well, I think we need maybe in a baseball sense, a closer. We need someone that we can bring on that can get you a goal. Now, how I thought they used Werner and Johnson was really well. Like, when you're up by 2 or 3, bring those guys on. They're like little puppy dogs. They'll chase the ball and they'll get you goals. And I thought that was like perfect. How Werner burnt Walker was just like, that's what he needs to do. Same with Johnson. I think Johnson's better as an impact guy. Similar to, I think when we played Newcastle, Johnson came on and the team kind of lifted. I think they should be used in that capacity, or dependent on the tactics. I mean, but I think if we're looking for someone, we need someone that can come on. If things are going pear-shaped at the moment, I still feel like when it's 2-0 down or 1-0 down, we go into our shell, or we just don't have anyone that can kind of lift the team and bring them on. So I'm not sure what position that would be, probably in the forward line or in the midfield, but I think we need to find a killer that can just turn the game around. I'm not sure how that works, but it's a mentality thing. Like, I think what you've been talking about, Dave, is all about mentality. What I found from the win against City was mentality. It was, yes, tactics. You can talk all tactics and that, but everyone bought in. You could see these guys were locked in mentally to what Ange wanted them to do, which is great, because if the rumors were saying that everyone had given up on it, or there was fractures, I saw Madison working just as hard as everyone else. Now, maybe Romero, we might see when Romero comes back, it might change, but I'm thinking keep this nucleus right now because they got a good vibe. When you have a friends group or whatever, people you have a good time. Someone comes in and just kind of spoils the party. Maybe just keep this nucleus good because everyone's bought in. I don't know, with Romero, maybe he comes in and it changes again. But
look, if it's a case that he's not on board, as much as I like the guy, and I think he will be sorely missed, out you go in January. No player's bigger than the club at the end of the day. So, I'd have no problem in opening up the January door to him if he's not on board. But, for me, I do agree that a lot of the problems I do think comes down to attitude, and I would say arrogance. So I think the good thing about it is Postecoglou has actually put an arrogance into these players, made them believe that, hang on, we are the best, we can sort of play this way. But I think it's a double-edged sword where I think when against the smaller teams, that arrogance actually comes back to bite us. And I think that's the part that Postecoglou needs to iron out. Get up for the big games. You still have to do all the hard work, chasing down, getting stuck in, staying concentrated for 90 minutes. You still got to do all that. even though it's only Ipswich or Palace. And I think that's the part that he really needs to earn out. But Kiwi Spurs, I've really enjoyed this conversation around.
Really well spoken, man.
Where were you over the last few weeks when we needed voices like this, my man?
No, I'll be back around anyway. But I just want to say quickly, guys, like I do a bit of rugby league content here in New Zealand, and I've got my own channel. But I'm not trying to plug. I actually want to say that this membership program that you guys have and the work you put in is one of the best I've seen. So anyone that's already members here, I'm not sure if non-members will be seeing this, but I want a big shout out to you guys. The content and the level of consistency, you guys do some of the best work out there of any kind of sporting genre. Wow. So I just want to give you guys a big shout out. Like when I open my phone, it's like bang, there's a message from IrishHotspur. Hey guys, we're doing this. It's like, wow, you guys are really doing amazing stuff. So I just want to shout out.
It's really kind, man.
And look, what is your channel name? Because look, we'll give anybody a plug that comes on here and that. And there might be people out there that are interested in rugby league. I'm interested in a lot of other sports. So what is the name of the channel? We'll put it in here in the chat for you.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, it's Wahs Up TV, WAHS. I follow the team here in New Zealand.
Say that again, sorry.
Wahs Up TV, WAHS.
Found it.
UP, yeah. Okay. So I do mainly rugby league content. Cover some rugby stuff, obviously. But yeah, if anyone's interested in it, but really appreciate you guys sharing that and giving me the time to share my thoughts. It's a bit lonely here in New Zealand sometimes, especially where I am. So
well, look, we're always here, my man. We're always here, never be alone. We're always here if you want to come and chat, or if there's something that's, annoying you, we're always here if you want to come here and get it off your chest. And people, like I said, there are people out there that are interested in other sports, just bar Tottenham Hotspur. So if you are in rugby league, is your sort of thing, please hit the subscribe button and, enjoy the content, lad. Really appreciate your time this evening. And thank you very much for the nice comments at the end, and we'll speak again soon, hopefully.
Yeah, hope to see you on very soon. Hope to see you on again. Thank you, man. Thank you, Levon.
See you, Levon. Great name. Yeah. Absolutely great name. Thank you, my man. See you soon.
Smashing debut.
About authenticity. Huh?
Smashing debut. Again, continuing the trend where I've never seen a bad debut in my life. Well, that was one of the best I've ever seen. Really, really well done from Levon. But like for a guy as well that has only been watching football for so long, clearly understands sports and clearly just understands, kind of a lot of different tactical aspects. Thought that was really, really well done. Really enjoyed that. Kind of flew by too. 10 minutes kind of just flew by as well. So really, really fair play. It
was a great conversation. Big up, Levon. Absolute great conversation. DJ Samuel says, Mark Travis, Bournemouth goalkeeper. Do you know what? He's one of them where, I've seen it in years gone by, like with Tim Krul or something, he'd pop up out of nowhere and have a worldly performance. I remember that game against Tottenham Hotspur. He's an Irish goalkeeper. He played for Bournemouth. I think it was under maybe Jose Mourinho, if I remember correctly. We absolutely battered them, and the kid saved absolutely everything. But since then, he's sort of been out on loan. They've brought in other goalkeepers and stuff like that. But weirdly, he has been pushing for a move, but they will not let him go. But I question, is he going to, at his age, is he going to come to Tottenham? Because soon as Vicario is back there, number 2, I'm not quite so sure. And that's why I say it's well with Queeveen Kelleher. I know a lot of people putting his name out there, but I'm telling you, he will not join Tottenham unless he's told he is undoubtedly number 1. He will not join Tottenham Hotspur if that's the case. He's openly said he wants to, his next move, he wants to play number 1. So I think we're going to struggle, to be honest. It'd be interesting. I think it will be a name that not many people have heard of, to be quite frank with you. But let's see what happens, DJ Samuel. Good to see you. Hopefully you're keeping well, and hopefully that victory boosted your mood, my man. Great to see you, DJ. And then we also have Kev Williams. Spurs seem to me like the reverse psychology of teams. When the odds are against us, we turn up. Home to Ipswich. It's a really bad no-show. Why? Like I said, I think it comes down to an arrogance thing, to be quite frank. I think that a lot of them players know how good they can be, and I think as a team, we've seen glimpses of how good they can be. But I think, like I said to Kiwi Spurs, Levon, I think it's a double-edged sword. I think it has repercussions against the smaller teams where the arrogance, they stop doing the hard work, the graft, because they almost think they can just rock up, wait till they have possession and then go and score the goals, which is not the case. I think the next step they need to take to try and be consistent. And if you want to win trophies, and that's why I think they're going to struggle until they have someone that's been at that level, and not only international level, but at club level, where they've done it season in, season out, over a course of a period of time, that knows what it takes. Because we don't have that. I think it's taken them time to maybe learn and realize that. But I can tell you one thing, enough humblings along the way against shit teams like that, you will eventually, hopefully, if you're any sort of winner or any sort of pride, you'll get fed up with that fairly quickly and you will find a way forward. Jack, anything you want to say?
No, it's what my intro was, I think, Dave, before you came on, with just, the fact that Spurs performed yet again another Manchester City miracle. But the question around inconsistency still needs to be answered, right? Spurs at this moment in time, they're this team that when there's no pressure on them, low expectations, pretty much, right? What is the term? I forgot it. We use it all the time, but it's kind of a win-win scenario, or a free hit, really, right? When it's a free hit scenario for Spurs, I mean, they knock it out of the park. They can pretty much beat anybody on their day. We could beat prime Barcelona with Davies at the back, as long as there's no pressure on us. But the moment that we are expected to win, or at least we should win, and it's kind of an unglamorous game, it's against like a Southampton away from home, and it's like a Sunday kickoff early in the morning, no chance. We just never seem to be able to show up in those situations. And it's just because it doesn't seem to suit, I guess, that lack of pressure. It's just when it's not really suited for us, we just don't seem to be able to dig in and dig deep and get over the line. But like Dave said, it's not even an Ange Postecoglou thing. I've seen that under Jose. I've seen that under Conte. Pretty much every manager.
And also, look, big games are self-motivating. The media is in early than usual to get all the interviews done ahead of time. The more newspapers, more interest than ever before. They're self-motivating. The littler teams is where it's not, there's not as much scrutiny around it in terms of press and everything else, which sort of then you're left to try and find your own motivation. Look, pride is what I would say. If you have that, then you'll make sure you're on top form every day. But big up Kev Williams. Really appreciate the support, my man. Absolute legend. Let's keep it moving. Marlon's in the back end. Nice. So we've got 4 guests. These will be the last 4 guests of the evening. And then we will be calling it an evening. Where are we next? Let me look at the list.
We are on to Pery.
Let's bring him on. Long time no see, Pery. How are you, lad?
How you doing, boys? How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. I was trying to enjoy the City win, but the world and the universe is against us.
Of course, man. Everything's against us. Now, look, let's talk about the City game. Look, I mean, let's be fair. What a performance! I think there's no Spurs fan that will find a negative out of that game. I thought we were outstanding. I thought the way we played was structured in a really positive way. I think people really miss it. You take in the result, but you sit back and go, do you know what? The one thing we weren't we weren't all over the place. I thought defended everyone at the back, defended well. No one had a bad game. I can't sit there and say one person had a bad game. And I think you sit and look and go, we talk about inconsistency and we talk about that, but what there aren't any negatives to look at of that game, right? I think we defended absolutely stoically in parts. I thought that was one of the best performances I saw Papa Matasai in midfield. Doesn't get loads and loads of credit, but I thought he was one for me that embodied that performance. I think that's the key bit. He embodied that performance because it got the ball, travelled further with it, used what he was good at. I mean, really fixed what his assets to the team can be. I think all the praise to Kulusevski, of course. I mean, Maddison gets a lot of stick. I think unfair stick at times. I thought he proved a lot of doubters wrong.
Totally.
And yeah, look, I can't fault anyone. I thought credit to the 2 at the back as well. I mean, all the talk is about Ben Davies. I think Dragusin was getting a lot of stick maybe weeks before this game.
Yeah.
I thought he was absolutely outstanding. And I always sit there and I talk about playing to strengths. When people slate Dragusin, we're asking him to get in behind, cover those runners like a Van de Ven. He hasn't got the legs for that. Dragusin, what he's good at is a big lummox at centre half that will just get the ball out, and that's what we did. Recycle, got it out, and start again. Structured, and I think for me that was the best performance under this manager I have seen, hands down.
I think that's hard to argue with. I think I'd put the Old Trafford one up there as well. I thought that was a really good night as well. But Pery, there's this big debate. Did Postecoglou reinvent the wheel, or did he just play, or did Ange ball work?
This whole, you know me, I don't like the term Ange ball. It's not. I feel like I'm an
I
old
do.
boy.
So
When
just play along with me, man.
Dave, for you, I always play along with you, of course. You know, I love you to bits. Such a nice bloke. Look, for me, we didn't play Ange ball because it was actually structured. But what we did is what I think we are very good at, and this is how I think we are adapting slowly. Key word there, because I hear adaptation. We were adapted, and what we did is we adapted to the game because we got a hold of the ball. And what we're good at, and where we are good at, is on the transition. I say it all the time. I said it before the game. I said, if Spurs are going to get any hope in beating Man City, we're going to beat them on the transition, because we have the players like Sarr, Kulusevski, Maddison, all these players all on the transition. No, we didn't play this high line. We didn't. We were organised, and for once you went. Do you know what? Centre halves weren't lunging in and leaving gaps at the back. It was everyone was structured. Everyone knew their role. And for once, the one thing I'm always critical of Porro and Udogie, not the best defensively. I thought they were brilliant. Can't fault them.
Do you know what? Like, for me, I do agree we were a lot more structured in the way we were playing. But I do have my questions. Does that come down to the mentality of the players and being up for it because it's such a big game and their back being against the wall compared to usual? I wonder, has that got something to do with it? Because, you know, in the cup game against Man City, you could argue, you know, we were structured in the same sort of thing. You know, Aston Villa, same sort of thing, you know, and I just wonder, is it the players being up for these games? And when it comes around to the smaller games, it's not so much the tactics, it's more on the players and, you know, how they apply themselves to the tactics, Pery.
I think it's a bit of both. I think you make a very good point, but I do think there's always a bit of everything when it comes to it. It's always a massive pie, and there's always a slice of every little thing in it. And I think when we play teams that are happy to allow us on the ball, what ends up happening, and I've noticed that more and more when we have a lot of the ball, we have a lot of the ball, but don't really do a lot with it.
Yeah.
Today, on Saturday against Man City, we didn't have loads of the ball, but when we had the ball, we were effective. Because when we got the ball, it was get it out wide, we'll travel, and then we'll cause a threat in the final third. When we kind of play against the teams that will play a low block or whatever you want to call it, much more deeper on the ball, and are very comfortable at letting Tottenham have the ball, we're very obvious in what we do. It's side, trying to find an opening. In a way, very similar to how I think Man City were against us, ironically. I thought Man City weren't great on the ball, but we didn't let them have an opportunity. And when they did get those opportunities, credit to the goalkeeper because he was brilliant.
You know what? Vicario was absolutely brilliant on the night.
Yeah, and I think that first save that he makes in the first half changes the game for us. Because if he doesn't save that first one against Marlon, that low one, at 0-0, and they go and score the first goal, we could be looking at us losing 2-3-1, 2-3-0.
Yeah.
I think that's...
I agree. I 100% agree with you. I think if that goes in, all, you know, the injury crisis, everything that sort of comes back into the mindset. And I 100% agree with that. I do think it's absolutely crucial, you know, to the win. Would you keep Kulusevski out at right wing, Pery? You know, because like you said, we were fast, dynamic down both sides. And look, one thing I think Kulusevski has over Porro is that cross that he played for Maddison's, or sorry, not over Porro, over fucking Johnson. You know, that he played that cross from Maddison's goal. Would you continue with that experiment? Because it is a way where you can actually get two of them in the team, but also keep that sort of defensive solidity in the midfield using a Papa Matasar and Bissouma or Bentancur.
No, good point. I think, look, Kulu, the difference is this wasn't like the Kulu playing at right wing last season. This was very, very different. And what he had this kind of free role because he was starting there, drifting in. He was everywhere on the pitch. He was at one point he was at centre midfielder doing a shift. So the difference is whereas last time he was fixated out on that right hand side, and for me, when he sticks out there a lot, I think he's very ineffective. You need him centrally, but what they allowed him to do, do you know what? In the transition, I don't care if you're in the middle. We will use Porro if we have to on the counter and use him out there. For me, I thought it worked. I think the manager, touch wood, has found a way to get Maddison and Kulu effective together. When them two are playing at their best in that team, we look very, very good.
Yeah.
The problem is this seems like if this is the system, stay with it. Let's not change it again. This works with those two, because for me, if you can get Kulu and Maddison working well, if you can get them two working together, we will be fine this season. That for me is very, very important.
No, 100%. I definitely agree with that. Jackie, any questions for Perchy?
I kind of just on the Kulusevski Madison thing. So if you were to have a choice, if you were to be in Ange Postecoglou's ear, would you tell him, you know what, keep Johnson on the bench for right now, continue with Madison and Kulusevski for the next few games?
For me, I mean, taking Vicario out of it because he's injured now, you don't change the lineup for me.
Yeah.
Don't change it. Keeper's got to go in. Obviously, he keeps injured, but you don't change it.
All right.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
And
then
yeah. Oh, go on.
Well, I was going to move it then on to, to the Vicario sort of goal.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do. No,
yeah, because we have to end on some sort of bad news, Perchy, because sadly that's the life of a Spurs fan. If you were to pick a backup, who would it be? Probably none of them are giving you a lot of confidence, really, but which one would give you the most confidence?
Fraser Forster goes in. Look, and this is why I always say, I'm hearing now about getting goalies in. We knew about this issue in the summer. Yeah. We didn't want to fix it. Instead, we decided to go long by giving an extra contract to Forster. He would have gone in the summer. We'd have had to buy a new one. We didn't. It's our own doing, right? We knew these things happen, right? Players get injured. And when you don't have a suitable number 2 on the bench, then that's the problem. The problem is we don't have one that coming through that is good enough at the moment, that you go, do you know what? They've come through our academy and they're good enough to be our number 2 now. Kelleher is the example at Liverpool, came through their academy. He's good enough to jump in. We haven't got that. I'm hearing all these names. I think we have to I'm not like everyone. Everyone's sort of in this, oh my God, it's terrible news. I kind of want us to get to this point and accept it, because it is what it is, right? Look, we have to get on with it. It is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it now. Look, I think he'll be out for a couple of months. I don't think he'll be out for the whole season. Like when I hear people saying it's out for a season, I mean, this is when we're talking about people, Joe Blogs on the street. These guys have the most money. They get the best treatment. They will be with some of the best surgeons and these people they'll have people around. He'll have people around him now for 6 weeks, 6, 7, 8 weeks, or whatever it is going to be, getting on with it. And that for me is how it is.
100%. Look, we'll give you time to upload your channel. Just if things do go drastically wrong because it is a goalkeeper situation like we had with Lloris, where he continuously cost us games, I do hope that that's not something that people levy at Ange and would say, look, let's get to the January transfer window, take it from there. That's just my opinion. But anyway, Perchy, I've seen you been playing Football Manager. You're still putting out short videos. What's going on over there?
Yeah, look, I'm back. Hey, my guys, back this time last week, came back, made the return. Yeah, look, doing just some real chill content. Started the Football Manager save today. So, guys, if you want to get over it every day, every other day, we'll be doing 2-3 hours of just having a laugh, trying to build a bit of a community, trying to get back to that community feel. I feel like YouTube has really lost that. We used to be a laugh. Everyone used to just get on and look, whether or not we agreed or disagreed on things, it used to just be a bit of a laugh, right? Dave, me and you, we don't agree on everything, but we sit and have an adult chat all the time about stuff. I just think we need to get back to that for me. And look, Football Manager streams, managing Tottenham Hotspur. I've been dubbed now Postecoglou. That's now the name. I've been dubbed Postecoglou in it. So yeah, guys, get on there. Look, the first episode's out already, 3 hours long. I'm trying to create real chilled watch whilst you're having your dinner. It's just a laugh, right? We've signed some players. There's some spoilers in there if you want to get involved. It's a bit of a laugh, right? You know what I mean?
I'm a big connoisseur of Football Manager. I was disappointed by the pushback on the new one. I was really excited for it. But look, get over there. Check out Perchy on the channel. Lots of different content there. Like I said, he does do shorts on the reaction on Tottenham Hotspur as well. So get over there and check that out. Perchy, thank you very much for being patient, and thank you very much for the conversation.
Everyone in the chat, subscribe and like these guys, because these guys put out incredible content, man. Support these guys. These do an amazing job.
Thank you, Perchy. Very kind of you, man. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for being patient as well. Appreciate you.
See you, lad. Thank you. Thank you. Big up, Perchy. Really enjoyed that conversation, guys. Get over and check out the channel over there if you are a football manager connoisseur like me. Where are we off to next? Who's next?
Donovan is the next one in line. Then we have Paul. Then we have Marlon, who's going to be the closer.
Let's get Donovan on. Donovan, good evening. How are you, sir?
Hey, you guys, how you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Well, I was in good spirits, but how are you?
Good. Yeah, I'm with you there. Like, there's no reason you should be negative after a 4-0 result, but I'm just annoyed. Like, I think that's a good way to sum it up. I'm just annoyed right now. Like
can't have nice things.
Yeah, and it's not even just the Vicario injury. It's like it's a combination of things, Jack. Like looking back now, those results sting that much more. You know, the Crystal Palaces and the Brightons and this, because now it's like I was having to go at my teammate the other last night in our game, and because he's a City fan, right? And like we're just like at each other's throat, like oh, you're Tottenham Hotspur, like whatever, and then it's like, oh, you're City, and it's like, well, yeah, we beat you, but do we really have a chest yet? Like, we don't, because we threw all those points away against Ipswich and Crystal Palace and whatnot. And part of me is a little bit annoyed too. It's like the narrative in the media. It's like everyone's focusing on like how bad City were. Right? Like,
yes.
Oh, it's such a bad like there's such a bad in front of form. This is all self-inflicted. It's City's doing this to themselves. It's like, no, man, like gives Tottenham Hotspur some respect they deserve, right? Like,
yeah.
But I feel like we're always going to be that until we win like a trophy. And even if when we do, they're still going to say like, though it's only one trophy, but they're going to little brother us until we do something of note. So.
Yeah, you wonder why we're not getting the same level of praise that Arsenal were getting, right? For, seeing out the game, with pretty much everybody and their mother behind the ball, camped inside their box. And yet, when I was on Talk Sport, it felt like it was like 2 to 3 weeks straight of Arsenal content, praising them for that performance. And it just feels like what Spurs is, it will kind of just be talked about for like a day or two, and then people just forget about it, a week from now. It's not like we're going to be shown that sort of same level of praise. And also it's kind of double sword with Ange, where, anytime that Ange loses a game, it feels like the tactics are put under the microscope. He's being asked questions here and there, and then he beats Guardiola, the best ever result anybody's had against Guardiola away from home in like 10, 15 years or something. And, it just feels like it's going to be a little bit of a whisper in the wind, of media coverage.
Exactly, Jack. And that's like kind of what annoys me too. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the guys, I love everybody. You know my stance. You want to call me a happy clapper, you want to call me whatever. Like, I don't care. But like I called this result from the start, and I called like Ben Davies' performance. I call like the stuff that I've been silently preaching in the background. Yeah, I'm gonna have a bit of chest now because I've been saying this since day one. And you still get fans, like you said, Jack, that's like, why are we still questioning it? Why are we still having the question now of like, oh, is Ange still the guy to get us forward? Like, does his Ange ball work? Oh, I'm not going to dub it Ange ball. Like, it's like, how much more proof do you want? Like, we've done it against Aston Villa twice. We've done it against, we own Manchester right now. We've seen that we've gotten rid of the high line vulnerability. We've seen, even without Romero and the fastest Premier League center back ever to grace the game, and we still walloped them. And you saw that we didn't need to play at the high line. We could sit back and absorb pressure and hit them on the counter. And I'm digressing anyway. But the point I'm trying to make is that, like, I don't know how much more Ange needs to do to get that unification. It's like it's like now maybe people are still wary about the honestly, I think it's just the consistency. But I think he's done wonders, and I don't see why people are still questioning him. And it kind of annoying to me when you get the staunch Ange out fans that are now coming into the fashion of, oh, okay, maybe we can trust this guy again, maybe we've earned some trust back, whatever, and coming into the limelight where it's like now it's fashionable to back a manager, and now it's fashionable to put your neck on the line when you're winning, but it's like the true character comes out when you're losing, right? And so let's put some run of games together. And honestly, lads, I'm looking forward to Liverpool. Like, I think Liverpool are a false dawn. We saw what we did those first 10 games of the season, and yeah, I'm just optimistic now, because if I honestly think we're better than Liverpool. I think our formula of attack is better. We generate better scoring opportunities. It's just whether or not we can defend on the day. And so I think they haven't played anyone of note yet. So I think Manchester City is going to go, and hopefully, it's ironic that it has to be City after the form they're in, but hopefully our result galvanized them and like kind of gave them a rude awakening so they can go into Liverpool and do a bit of business and start chipping away at those points, because we could do something special this season, lads.
I just wonder will we have the patience, because I do think we are going to be hampered by the Vicario injury. I do think, whoever will put in goals, I'll be very surprised if it doesn't come back to cost us points at some stage, which I think will bring around more inconsistency, which will bring around more questions around the manager. I just look at it. We've steamrolled Man City, the champions of the last 4 years, the way we did. Man United. When I look at it, there's something here. Not every team does this to ball teams away from home, like that up in Manchester. I've never seen a Tottenham team do it in my lifetime. And I do think there's something here. But also, he's got to be fully backed by the owners as well. If he needs something in January, they have to go and get it for him. There can't be any ifs or buts. They have to go and get it for him. But it's just about getting to January at this point. But what do you make of Maddison's performance yesterday? I thought he was absolutely outstanding. He's done everything that I've questioned about him not doing. So he's proven that he can't do it. Is that form here to stay?
Is it funny, Davo, before the announcements were on the starting lineup start their show, their pre-game pump-up, their pre-match, I gave a nice 4-minute soliloquy about Maddison and how he's a prima donna and how he's worried more about his haircut than his performance, and he comes out with a performance like that. And that's another question you have to ask yourself too. Like that goes right in hand with Tottenham's form. I'm going to ask you guys the question, lads. Is it a coincidence that Tottenham's inconsistencies and up and down are also coincided hand in hand with our leadership group and their consistencies and up and down? So it's like it has to come from somewhere, right? And like it or not, Maddison is the part of the leadership group, and young players like the Bergvalls and the Greys, and half our squad's younger than him. He's one of the oldest people in our squad at 28. And then we have a leader like that who seems to be, well, up until this point, like, no, I'm talking pre-Man City here, up until Man City, has seemed to be okay with these lackadaisical results and has no sense of shame, and will go into the media and do these Billard interviews and these Dart interviews, and he seems there's not like a crisis. But now we have a player who obviously was bit in the ass by sitting down. You could see his pride was hurt. You could see his ego was hurt. And to come out with that attitude of, oh yeah, some people like Michael Richards nailed it on the head there in his thing there. He's like, yeah, it's nice to have a team mentality, and that's what good players do. It's like, oh, it's a team first, I trust the manager. But an elite player will come out and say, no, the team's better with me in it. Right? I'm going to prove to you that the team's better than me in it. So I honestly don't think it's sustainable long term, because the lad is built like he's built like a U19 player, right? Like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Like, I don't think he's going to have the tenacity to cover like Papa Madasar would. But the teams that come and play football against us, like the Liverpools and the Chelseas and the Arsenals and the top 6 players that don't give us the respect we deserve and will come and play at us, those are the games he's going to fly. And those are the games where he can wiggle away. And then there's so much space because they've just come onto us. And that's where I think we're really going to expose Liverpool. Guys, I'm turning this to a pre-match Liverpool pump-up, but that's where my next. Actually, we should see the Manchester result too, like the against Almiron there in the cup. But that's where my mind is set. Pre-Christmas, it's either going to be the best Christmas, or it's going to be like 12 days of hell. But I'm really looking forward to that away trip to Anfield, because they've had our number for so long, and it'd be so nice to like roll up there and do the similar thing. Similar thing.
Just win one of them. Just either win United or Liverpool. Just don't lose both, and then I can sort of find a way to happy clap over the Christmas. That would be ideal. But Jerome says here, bloody hell, woke up happy and then get hit. With Vicario's broken ankle. We can never have anything our way. Quickly, Donovan, thoughts on that situation, on that news?
Well, everybody's a MD medical specialist when it comes to this. Oh, my friend told me this. My sister's ex.
Age every doctor,
Yeah, dude. My sister's ex is suddenly a surgeon general who's told me this. Speaking from experience, where like I've played I played in some pretty good dressing rooms during my career, and like I've seen some pretty crazy injuries. I've seen pins and needles get put into your joints, and I've seen recovery times from a month to about 3. So I'm predicting just like near the end of the January transfer window. And you said there, Davo, you're going to cost us points. I wasn't ignoring you. I just quickly went on my phone to see how many games we do actually have until the January transfer window open. Lad, we have 10 games in like 6 weeks, like 5 weeks right now, man. So that's like 2 games a week, just a little bit less, a little bit more. So I'm really annoyed actually that we have a Roma game before the Fulham game. You know, that's no chance for like us to rest. It's fun to make fun of it. It's funny to make fun of Forster. Like I really enjoyed Chris, by the way. Like big up Chris if you're listening. Like it almost seemed like I love you, love, but it almost seemed like you were pounded into negativity for so long you forgot what it was like to stick your chest out. And you look like
he's just reliving
reliving
glory days.
Oh, look good, mate, with that big freaking crest on your chest, man. Oh, that's good stuff. But the reality of the fact is like now we do have a Forster in net, but I'm gonna preach that like he's Ben Davies and Son obviously see something in him. And so hopefully he can be he is considerably older than Ben Davies. Like I thought Ben Davies was 33, but he's actually only 31. I don't know how Vicario is. He's almost pushing 40 at this point. Like I don't know. I'm not Vicario Forster. Like he's up there, right? So like it's going to be after one of those things where it's mind over body, because I don't see Ange playing the kids, you know, like even though like I don't see, like you don't know until you're tested. So like Rashford didn't know how good he was until Mourinho threw him into the limelight. So it's either one of those scenarios where you go with an unproven youngster and hopefully he has like a worldie, or you rely on the Forster that was in that team that beat Barcelona those many years ago. You know, you rely on the Forster that had it at one point, and hopefully can rely on his positioning. I don't know, because like there's nothing else we can do, right? Like that's the reality of the fact, right? We have to like just like the Ben Davies result, you just got to stick behind a lot and hopefully pull something out of his arse, because yeah, and it's crazy though, because it's not even just Vicario. I keep saying Vicario. It's not even Forster though, lads. Like we just got hit with the Bendiker ban too, right? And it's like it just seems like we can't have these nice things as Tottenham Hotspur, but you have to believe that the sum is greater than the whole, right? Like the individual parts in it, right? So, but we have to go on something for January, man. Like that's undeniable, right? It's undeniable.
We have to look and see who's about anyway. That's for sure. That's for sure. But Jerome, look, man, that's the life of a Spurs fan, innit? You know, you go to bed happy, you wake up and it's you know, they put something out to dampen the spirits or dampen the mood. But you know what? I'm sort of the opinion now. I'll just wait till Thursday and I see it, and then I'll start worrying about it then. Until then, I'm going to enjoy the Man City 4-0 win. You know, if anyone is looking for anyone to blame, I would blame Pedro Porro. It all happened with his poor back header.
True.
You know, which was very, very poor. It was inflicted by one of our own players, which actually makes it worse, to be quite frank. And then big up Ribsy. How can I donate one of my ankles? Look, lad, I don't know. You get in contact with Tottenham Hotspur, but good to see you, Ribsy. And then Sean M says, great to see Sonny hugging Davies and Dragosin walking off the pitch. Good captaincy. Says it's his passing out from the back that may be a problem. Hoof the ball. The goalie isn't Ange ball. 100% agree. And that's my biggest concern around anyone that comes in, really, you know, is I don't think people understand the amount of pressure that it takes off some of these guys knowing they can go back to Vicario. Now we're just going to invite the press. But Donovan, tell people why they need to get over here, lad.
Yeah, I try and look at the bigger picture when it comes to the scope of the games, and I like to talk about the ideology that Ange trying to instill in us rather than just the basic what you got at face value. I'll talk tactics and I'll talk results and whatnot, but like I'll just say it, lads. Like these things that come with the goodness, like you're losing crazy games of the season, but you're pulling out wins that were always there, right? And so it's about finding that consistency. It's about never giving up on the project. And I preach it again, like the same thing I said when we lost, man. Like winning and losing is part of the whole process, right? And so you don't get these days without losing. And I honestly don't believe you would get this intense of a win if you didn't go through those hardships that galvanize the squad, because that's all it does. And yeah, Ribsy, by the way, man, you don't have anything left, buddy. You've already, like Jack said, you've already given your hamstring, man. Like, Bibsy's got his organ donor card or something, right? So,
well, big up, Ribsy, and big up, Donovan. Really enjoyed the conversation. And look, you want to keep putting out the content, keep trying to be balanced amongst the minefields, my man, and appreciate your time, lad.
Cheers, guys. Yeah, I'll look forward to this, and good luck with the rest of your show.
Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, Donovan.
Best of luck with the matches you got coming up, lad.
Cheers, lad.
Legend. Guys, please get over, check out Canadian Spurs Boy. We have really good time for Donovan. I really like what he has to say. You know, sometimes he can be a calming presence in amongst the chaos. So please get over, check out Canadian Spurs Boy. Absolutely brilliant from Donovan. So we're down to the last two guests of the evening. Next will be Paul, and we will be ending off on Marlon, who you guys like to go after in the chat on channel predictions. So I think he's here to put some things straight. But look, we'll go with Paul first. Let's bring him on. Let's hear what he has to say. Paul, how are you keeping this evening?
Evening, guys. How are you?
Yeah, look.
Good to have you with us, Paul.
As good as you can be, lad.
Oh, what can I say? It's just, I've said it for weeks. We can turn up against Man City. We can turn up against the big boys, but put us against an Ipswich or Wycombe Wanderers or anything like that. That's when I worry. It's I saw a lot of predictions. A lot of predictions saying we were going to lose, and I'm like, if we want to be a club that's going to win things, we have to go into these games thinking we can win. We can't sit there as a fan base and think, oh my God, like I think Jack said it earlier, it's a free hit. There is no such thing as a free hit in the Premier League. You know, that free hit last season cost us 4th position, which was Champions League.
Very good point.
So is there any such thing as a free hit in the Premier League? We should be going out to win every single game, and the fans should have the confidence in the players going out and doing that.
I think on the free hit,
don't take anyone lightly.
I think with the free hit thing on Jack, though, I think it was more to be fair, I think it was in more terms of it's not a game depending on the outcome where he's going to judge Postecoglou. He was saying more it's going to be Fulham, Bournemouth games where we should be winning, where, you know, basically if there was going to be any scrutiny from the Spurs fans, it should be more on them games rather than someone like the City game in terms of furthering the Ange out agenda, if I'm correct.
I think I was thinking about it on the lines of like player mentality, where I wonder if the players lots of times when they come up against teams like Man City, maybe they themselves even think like, you know what, we'll get so much praise if, you know, we beat them tonight. But if we lose, you know, are we really going to be ridiculed and, you know, kind of lambasted across, you know, social media and, you know, whatnot. We're not Man United, you know, we're not Man United. We're not Chelsea or something that's going to be all over the tabloids if we lose the game. So, you know, it's kind of maybe in their head a bit of a free hit mentally wise, because they just think they wouldn't be criticized that heavily if they were to lose. Where if they were to come up against an Ipswich or a Southampton, there's kind of not much incentive for them to maybe win it other than just you have to get wins. That's maybe where I was coming up from it, Paul. But to be honest, man, I agree with you, because right now we're seeing even West Ham beating Newcastle 2-0 at home. There is no easy game in the Premier League, and it's silly of these players to go into the game with a mentality of, you know what, we should be able to roll these over. You know, it's a huge mistake to think that.
But saying that, and this has always been my frustration with Spurs, we can go out and we can give worldy performances like this. This is the best I've seen Spurs play in years. And now the question is, we know you can do it. Now let's see it all the time. You know, let's see you put your body on the line. You know, let's see you go out. Let's see you go out there for the fans that are paying day in, day out. You know, going to these away games, our away form is atrocious. You know, hopefully that's going to turn that around. You know, I just want to see the players be proud to play for Spurs again, you know, and see them just going out there and giving their all for every single game, every single minute they play with that badge on their chest.
I think someone put the analogy, Paul, that Spurs right now are kind of like a skyscraper where the ceiling is astronomically high, but then also the floor is so low at the same time. And we just need to find a way to resolve that inconsistency. And, you know, that's what these upcoming games, you know, especially one like Fulham, are going to be. I know your guy, though, has put a lot of responsibility on the players. So to see them turn up like that in a game like that, surely that's a kind of a validation, maybe to your own opinion, about the players seem to show up when, you know, they are motivated, and then maybe other games less so, because this one, they all worked for each other. Almost 3 10 out of 10. Sar, Madison, Kulusevski, they were all brilliant. Real team performance.
And I think that's what I liked about it the most. As you know, during the watch along, I was painting my new house.
Yeah.
So I kind of like had the game on in the background, you guys on the other one. And every time I turned around and looked, we were either attacking or defending really well. I just didn't see any issues. And it's one of them for me. I want to see that every week now. I was over the moon. Do you know what I mean? I'm jumping around the place and my partner's going, "What are you doing?" I said, "Spurs have just scored again." You know, and her being a Man United fan, she was happy as well. So when we beat Man United, I got the couch, and when we beat Man City, I got a Sunday roast. Can't complain.
Had the full day, man. You had the full day. What did you make of Madison's performance in particular, man? I mean, what a day he had.
Great, and that's the Madison we all know and love, you know.
Right.
And this is the Madison, you know, and he was tracking back. He was doing well, you know, and I think he was given a lot more space. And I know a lot of people said, "Oh, Kulu was on the wing," but I never saw him stay on that wing like a Johnson does or a Werner does or anybody else. He was floating around that middle of that park. It looked like we were playing more of a 4-4-2 than actually a 4-3-3. You know, because Kulu was back there as well, helping Porro out, and it just seemed to be a really solid midfield. And I think that's because Kulu dropped back, because from what I saw, Solanke was more on the right-hand side of the box. Because obviously when Kulu's played that pass over, he was literally on the right-hand side of the box to receive it, to pass it back. So, you know, it's kind of like, where was Kulu? He was in a more of a free role, same as what Madison was. Madison was never in the same position. And I think that's what confused Man City more. They just kept switching between them. And if they keep doing that with like Sarr and Basuma behind them, we had that gap wasn't there that normally is there. You know, from where Sarr's maybe going forward to plug the gap to feed Madison or Johnson or Kulu on the right. That gap in the middle of the park wasn't there for him to play that ball that, you know, that hits our high line and straight out and we're gone. It just seems to be really, really solid in that midfield. But I didn't see Kulu on that right wing. I didn't see him staying out there like he was last season. He was drifting in all the time. And I think that's what made the difference. Because we had effectively an extra man in midfield.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I thought, look, whatever. I think the big conundrum is, I think everyone, you know, is trying to find out what Postecoglou done. But look, whatever he done, it absolutely worked to a treat. But Paul, sticking on Kulu, what do you think is his best position? Is it right wing? Is it through the middle as a cam?
I think he's more going to go back. I relate him to a kind of Ginola sort of player. He can float around and he will just pop up where you least expect him. You know, he's one of those, and I don't think he's got one of those set positions in the front line. I think he can play anywhere across that front line, but he can also play the cam. You know, I think that gives him that ability that he can float in between in different positions. His situational awareness at times is absolutely amazing. But he's one of those players that can literally just, 1 minute you don't see him, next minute he's there. It's like, well, where did he come from? You know, so it's like Ginola used to do for us. He could be, you know, you wouldn't see him, and then all of a sudden he'd just pop up, and they were like, where did he come from? And he's kind of in the top corner. But yeah, I see him as that sort of player that's not got like a set position in the team, but more given that freedom to float across that final third sort of area.
Just create chaos.
You know, and create chaos.
Which he done to great effect yesterday, by the way. It was absolutely phenomenal yesterday.
Devastating.
Something we haven't really spoke about this evening. Sonny substitution early in the game. What was it, about 60-odd minutes? Came to a surprise as many. What do you think the thinking behind it was?
I think it's more to do with, obviously, he's just come back from injury. And when we first, if you go back, he did have an injury, and he come back and he played the full 90. And then a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks later, he's back out again, and he wasn't available for selection. I just think he's managing his minutes, to be honest, building his match fitness back up to get it to, you know, peak where he can carry on, because I think his minutes are going to gradually increase as we go along. And obviously with the injuries we've got at the minute, you know, we're in quite a commanding position at that point. So I just thought, I just think he was saving his legs, to be
Mm.
honest, more than anything else. You know, trying to look after the player, which is what we haven't done in the past.
Yeah.
You know, we these players have come back and we've run them ragged, and then all of a sudden they're injured, and we're like, oh, who are we going to play now?
Yeah.
Vicario, prime example.
Fair point.
Do you know what? I sort of agree with you on Son. That was my sort of initial, reaction to it as well, because I am of the opinion, like, Son's 33. I think, you play him every single minute over December. Come April, May, he's going to be absolutely shattered. So I do think, I think the more minutes you save in his legs now, the more output you're going to get out of him come the end of the season, in the business end of the season, where it really matters. That's where your sort of rewards are dished out. Paul, anything else we haven't asked you about that you want to touch on?
To me, it was just more like, as we were building up to this game, it was the amount of predictions, fan channels I saw that go in, oh, it's Man City, oh, we're going to lose this, it's at the Etihad and stuff like that. Not like, I saw a few that say, if we do this and we do this well, we can beat them, and they were proven right. And I just don't want to see the mentality. We talk about the players' mentality, the fans' mentality needs to be, we can win every game. If we go into it thinking, oh, we're going to lose this, what confidence does that give the players? Because that feeling, if they see that social media, like, oh, well, it doesn't really matter. Every game should matter to us, whether it's Ipswich, whether it's Man City. We should always have the feeling we could win. No matter, we can beat anyone on our day. We always can. And that's where the belief needs to start with the fans, which filters into the team. The fans are always the 12th man on the pitch at the end of the day.
And to be fair, they got incredible support. Yes, it was actually good to see, at the end of the game, Postecoglou standing behind the players, sort of clapping the away support. It was good to see that sort of camaraderie. And then before we let you go, Paul, what's your feelings heading into the Roma game?
I just want to see a bounce back performance now. We've had everyone said, oh, Galatasaray, it doesn't really matter if we win or not. But with the way our injuries are, the last thing we want is another 2 games in that Europa League, in the playoff section. We don't want to get into that situation. We need to stay in that top 8. To me, Roma, we have to beat them. I think they were pot A, the same as us, if I remember rightly. These are the teams that we're going to come up against in the quarterfinals and stuff like that. So, we need to go out and we need to make a statement. We're at home. There should be no reason to why we should lose.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Look, you go on.
Sorry, I just said absolutely.
I was going to say, I completely agree. Look, Roma's not going to be an easy test whatsoever. I think, I think, they're going to pose a different, all Italian teams are hard to break down. They're going to pose a different challenge altogether. And I would say to people, I would expect changes and hold back a lot of these players for the Fulham game at the sort of weekend. I know some people would say, oh, that's the wrong way to think. Look what happened against Galatasaray and then the Ipswich result. But with the injuries that we're carrying now, I think it would be the right thing to do. But, big up, Paul. Good to see you, my man. And someone said, you're always painting when the game's wrong, but that's because he's doing a whole renovation. It takes time. It's a big job. And you're moving in this week?
Saturday.
Wow. Oh, you excited?
So I've got 3 bedrooms to finish off, which I'll be doing tomorrow night. And then it sounds a lot, but it's not. It's just touching up. There's nothing massive to do. And then carpets going in on Thursday, kitchen Friday, Saturday on the day we move in. So it's a bit of a crazy time, but lads, and it's nearly all over.
But you know what?
Roll on the 8th.
Hopefully you can sit there Sunday, lad. Enjoy Tottenham beat Fulham, and have a nice little takeaway there to celebrate, lad, in the new gaff.
Yeah, that'll be the plan. And then on the 8th, I can get in. On the 8th, I'm turning the internet off and getting on a plane.
Good man.
Well, before you do, you got to give me a tour of the house, lad. All right?
Yeah, no worries, we'll do.
Love it.
Good job, Paul. Appreciate your class as always. Thank you, Paul.
You get back to painting, lad.
I'm going to bed now.
Yeah.
Come you, Spurs. Cheers, lads, for having me on. Have a good day. Have a good evening.
Thanks for your patience as well, Paul. Appreciate you.
Thank you. and everybody, you know, congratulate him on moving into the new place. You know, he's been at it for months, and fair play to him. It's a lot to juggle while working. So absolute incredible effort there, and great to see him as well. And do you know, it must be a weird experience painting and having the game on the radio, and you know, not watching the game. It must be weird, but it shows the dedication to supporting this club. Bob Down Under says, loving the show, lads. Ange is a change agent. Spurs have such a negative culture with its own terms. Example, Dr. Tottenham Spurs. It's a fascinating watch to see Ange try to break through that. And you're absolutely spot on. And I think given the time, I think he will break through that. Big up, Bob Down Under. Good to see you. Long time no see, actually. How are you keeping, my man? How is life treating you? And we've got Mike Hotspur Hustler. Good to see you. Big up my boys, aka the Hotspur Hustler in the house. In Ange we trust. Consistency is key. Results is key now. Big up, Mike. What you doing with yourself nowadays? You know, what you doing with yourself nowadays? Good to see you in the building. And you're right. I think, look, the next thing we need is consistency, lad. You're 100% spot on. Consistency is what's next. And hopefully it can happen, because you bring consistency, you bring people on board. It's that simple. But look, let's keep it moving. We've got 2 guests left. It will be Marlon, and then we will end on Eugene. So let's bring on Marlon. He wants to set the record straight with some of you guys out there. He's not happy. Let's bring him on. Let's hear what he has to say. Good evening, Marlon.
The owner of the table.
Hello, how are you? Of course, I am very well, very, very well, and happy for at least for this. Pardon?
How was the work dinner?
Oh, no,
good
this
food.
is what I have to wear to work. Allow me. Look, this is my bus driving job. Remember?
No, but you told me you had work dinner there last week. How was it? Good?
Yes. No. That was good. That was good. Yeah, the good team meeting, as they say. But yeah, all good.
Yeah, well, you know, he doesn't drive buses, he directs planes. He's always near Gatwick Airport or something like that. Heathrow or something. But Marlon, what's your thoughts on yesterday's game, lad? It was, you know, what a performance, right?
Look, you know what, right? There was only one negative that I thought about the whole game, right? And I'll get into that in a minute. But everything else was spot on. And even I, like me and Ash, when we were, because we were obviously in the studio on Saturday,
right?
And we were like, look, before we started, let's make this fun. Let's have, you know, let's just go and be happy and make sure this is a nice stream, because we wasn't sure what Spurs were going to turn up.
Yeah, no one was.
We didn't know if Ipswich was going to turn up or Man United Spurs, right? And this is the big issue with Spurs right now. We just don't know, right? So we said, all right, cool, let's just do this. But credit where credit's due. I think the James Maddison part of it all was testament to Ange. Whatever's happened off the pitch, he allowed himself to bring him back into the team, and he's gone against like most things. You usually hear when he falls out of a player, that's kind of it with Ange. I think you get like 2 chances and that's it. But it seems like whatever's happened with Maddison, they've kind of put it to one side, and look, it's done wonders for the team. Because I was like, I'm very surprised he's not brought on Brendan Johnson, because I thought he was going to catch him down on the wings. But actually, the way the game ended up playing, it was a brilliant tactic to bring Kulu back on the right and to bring Maddison back in the middle. And that first goal, everyone must have had Dele Alli visions of that when that went in. It was just so good the way he darted in. But yeah, no, I'm completely happy. But how long will it last? This is always the question.
That's the big question. That's the burning question, right? That we're all sort of waiting for. And that's why I sort of wanted to get you on at some point, because, you know, I do feel like, you know, people are sort of putting you in the anti-Ange corner, which I actually don't think you are, because I listen to you on your own channel, I listen to you on other channels. You actually do recognize the good that Ange Postecoglou does do, but you just had maybe some questions around it, and, you know, so maybe let's get into it and explain yourself, because I do think you get a bit of a hard time.
Of course, but do you know what? I've come to, I don't mind it anymore. I've got to the point where I'm like, well, I know how I feel, right? But everyone's taking the comments and they're looking at what I'm predicting and going, how can you predict Spurs to lose? Like the last guest you just had on, right? Saying, we should believe Spurs can win every game. Well, I do, right? It doesn't matter who they play. I believe they can win it. The problem is that you get games like Ipswich, Palace, Arsenal, Newcastle. You just don't know with this team what they're going to do. Yeah. So I'm always in the sense of let's take the predictions. Every single game we've lost, I've predicted us to win, but yet we've lost. So this is where I'm going with right now, and this is what I'd like today. I was going to come on and say I really hate this football club because I just don't know what I'm going to get. But that's what makes it so exciting and why I love him so much.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Because you never ever know what you're going to get. So when we're predicting it, like the Man City game on Saturday, I said to you guys, it was going to go 3-2 either way, right? Because for me, we are Manchester City's bogey side. But when it comes to us playing Chelsea, how many Spurs fans will honestly sit there and believe with the record we've got? Because you have to go with the data as well. I go half data and half how I'm feeling. And when you're looking at the data, no one is ever going to predict us to beat Chelsea unless we're at home. At Stamford Bridge, if anyone's out there who actually thinks we're going to beat Chelsea away, right, good on you, right? Because I want you to go put your house on it, because the likelihood it's not going to happen, right? No, only one manager has won there, right? So come on. It's just what I like to do, I like to give a realistic point of view of what I'm saying, because everything I've always said in my predictions, I've always given you a reason to why I'm thinking it, whether it's right or not. Like I said to you, like let's take the Ipswich ones, right? The Ipswich game, I predicted a win, but I said if Thingy does this, he'll get it. They'll get a victory, right? And I when you came against me, I actually agreed with you. I was like, nah, we're at home. This ain't gonna happen. But these things happened, and this is what my biggest issue, not with just Ange. I think what people have to realize, it's not an Ange issue that I'm pointing out here, right? This is a Tottenham Hotspur issue. I think Jack said it earlier. Things happened under Poch, things happened under Mourinho. It's not just the start, and Ange is not going to change a 23-year-old culture in 15, 16 months. He's not going to change that. And you can see it by the games that why we've been inconsistent, because someone pointed out, I don't know what I was listening to, but someone pointed out that his midfield three has constantly changed this season. That's going to be, that for me, that's a red flag to go, that's why we're inconsistent. We don't know if it's going to be Bentancur or Basuma. We don't know if it's going to be Sarr or Kulusevski. We don't know if it's going to be Maddison or Kulu, right? And this is the biggest issue with the whole thing. We're all like, on Saturday, it was a great change and everything like that, and it was deserved for Man City. But when it comes against Fulham, who suddenly could be off form when we play them, right? But we're going to have a game Thursday.
Not take out for granted.
Yeah. So I'm kind of looking at it going, I want to predict wins, but the team not showing me enough for me to predict those wins in certain games. Admittedly, Saturday, I should have predicted the win. It's Manchester City. Pep can't play us, and I should have gone. And but in my head, I was like, Man City can't do 5, but they did, right? So when I'm predicting these games, I'm always going. Look, at the end of the day, he's lost 5 games this year, right? So Manchester United have lost less, but everyone will sit there and go that Manchester United are inconsistent. Right, we've scored more, we've conceded less, but most of the goals we're conceding, especially this season, right, and I don't know if people have noticed this, is from Porro and Brennan Johnson when the ball comes across with Udogie and Van der Ven, and letting them, and it seems to be the same constant goal. And you're like, okay, first I told Ange to sort out the high line, and everyone uses the high line as an example, but we've conceded 1 goal, I think, from the high line, which is against Newcastle. So he has sorted that issue out. He has sorted out the set piece issue, and we've only conceded 2 now, right? It was 1, but we conceded 2. So I can slowly see that Ange is trying to sort things out. And I said after the Arsenal game that I don't trust him anymore because of that set piece, right? And I'm still there. There's certain things I don't trust, because my biggest critique about Saturday was I just expected, around the 70th minute mark, I just expected we're 3-0 up. Was it time for a Bergvall and Archie Gray to be introduced for how dominant we were in that game, right? To give them the minutes, so when we are relying on them on Thursday, and the whole Vicario injury as well, players are getting injured left, right, and centre. We've had the most injuries, right? Which I didn't even know. So again, there's another factor why these results are so up and down.
He on that Marlon though? And I get what you're saying. In an ideal scenario, I would love to see that too. It's how these youngsters, you'd love to get them on in this environment. But is he battling with trying to navigate the injury crisis, but also trusting the players? But the likes of the Brighton game, they let him down and stuff like that to a degree.
Of course, yeah. But he should have made in the Brighton game. I always said he should have made the subs early. On Saturday, I kind of got why he didn't make the subs, because I actually said to people, me and Ash were talking about it, and I said, is he making them suffer so at long term that when they come up against a team that's going to be putting them under pressure, that these players are going to come through it and go, no, we did it against Manchester City, and I got it. But at the same time, it's like the whole, let's take the Ipswich game where he brings on Maddison, and I can't remember who the other sub was, on the 85th minute. These things are having a big impact on his results. And I'm hoping he gets it sorted. But look, I believe, and look, for me, look, I don't believe, look, for us, the project, the things I hate about the project is a lot of fans will go, oh, it's a project, it's a short-term thing. But for a lot of our Spurs fans, this project has been going on since Poch. And that's the biggest issue. It depends on where you are in this project. So a lot of us will have the short-termisms. Yeah.
What I will say is, I do think we're contributing to kicking the project down the can every time, because every manager we keep trying to get rid of at some point.
Exactly, and this is the problem. Right? Yeah, and this is the problem. And this is where I am with you, right? I don't want Ange sacked. I think Ange can change it. The problem is, and this is where I have the biggest issue with Spurs fans when it comes to comparing him with Arteta and Klopp, right? And this is my biggest issue, the whole 45 games, 50 games. There's two, right? The biggest issue I have is, look at what the board done for Klopp and Arteta to turn those 50 games into better wins. The problem is, will Spurs' board do exactly the same thing? Now, if we went back to last summer, right, and then look, if you go back to the signings we were supposed to make, we're now in a situation where your dog is playing every game. We're now in a situation where Fraser Foster is now having to play, right? Yeah. For unfortunate reasons. It's all unfortunate, but if you fail to prepare, you're going to foul, basically, right? Yeah, prepare to foul, as the saying goes. And for us, this goalkeeper situation should have been sorted out 2 summers ago. When Lloris left, there shouldn't have been 1 goalkeeper to come in. There should have been 2. And we all said that. And we all said we needed a goalkeeper. We needed a goalkeeper because Foster showed clearly that, look, he's a decent goalkeeper. And I don't mind that he's going to go in goal. But he's clearly, look, the first goal against Galatasaray, I think he should have saved. It was so close to him and where it was, but he's so old now and he can't move as quick. It literally, he gets his hand to it. Vicario saves that. So and this is always going to be the issue for me, that the board are always going to play a part into what I'm predicting as well and what Ange is doing. It's not the fact I don't believe in Ange. I think Ange, and this is what I try and say to Spurs fans, is the summer window he just had wasn't fair on him, and he's been dealt. And you can see it with the fact that Solanke is the only player from last season that's in the first team. And if you go back to the last 10 games of last season, he's pretty much got the same team. And he's now just trying to mess around with different positions and trying to get them in. Kulusevski, the position change, kind of a masterstroke, but he was brave enough to do it, as they say. But he's got to know when to do it and when not to do it, because that, there's in certain games he can't do it. But our away form is awful. And the 2 games that we've actually won away from home is the teams that have given us the ball and allowed us to play, which is Man United just didn't lay a glove on us. And Manchester City are always going to try and play against us. So we, as everyone says, we play Conte ball, but in a better way with Ange. So, we are that good going forward. And that's the thing at the moment. We're either battering teams or we're losing 1 or 2-1. It's just so inconsistent.
And, I fully understand your point about, Will Daniel Levy go on and back Postecoglou the way they did with Klopp and Arteta? I fully understand that point, because reality is, I think if you keep Ange in the job long enough, I think eventually we'll get there. But, it's not going to happen as quick as maybe it happened for them. But this is where I'm of the belief. If we know the owners like that, rather than keep relying on short-term, on manager bounces, because it's never going to give us the success we need, I struggle to understand why we don't double down on the manager and say, no, back him and put that pressure on the board. Because I think with all the pressure that gets put on them, I almost think it makes the jobs board easier to sack him, because the fan base is sort of agreeing with them when it comes round to that time. And I think because we know they struggle to get what they need to really help them, that's why I do think fans should sort of double down behind them as even a standpoint towards the chairman. But Marlon, I absolutely love this lad. We've got to do this more. I do want to say, by the way, when we do ask for these predictions, we don't send a hidden message asking these guys to lie. We ask them for their honest predictions. And one thing you got to say with Marlon, whether you like it or not, he's brutally honest. If he doesn't think we're going to win, he's going to tell you that. If he thinks we're going to win, we're going to tell you that. And I think that's maybe one thing where people don't consider. We are asking these guys for their honest opinion. And to be quite frank, I think it'd be boring if everyone sat there predicting a win and jumping around and stuff like that. I appreciate the honesty, even though I will confess I am one of them. I'll never, even if you ask me for my prediction, I'll never back against Tottenham, because I'm a big believer in manifestation, right? You got to manifest a win or see a win for it to happen.
That's why Dermot's last.
You ask me for your honest opinion,
No, but on a serious note, look, for me, and that's the bit I really wanted to get at, especially to people of your channel, is I'm not Ange out. I'm definitely not Ange out. I will critique him. Me and Ash will critique him in certain ways because we both asked this question. And this is where I think we're at. I think Spurs are 3 world-class players for Ange, right? Because I take Man City as a prime example. If Spurs had Rodri, Kevin, De Bruyne, and I think we were talking about a winger, right? An elite winger. Could Spurs be in the same situation as Guardiola? The way Ange wants to play, I'd say yes. Like, yeah, I know we're not going to find a Rodri out there. We're not going to find a Kevin De Bruyne, but there is like Florian Wirtz, who plays for Bayer Leverkusen, is a great attacking midfielder who's up and coming. There are probably a load of defensive midfielders that Ash Matic, by the way, comes over to Spurs Kings TV and find him. But we'll suggest there are players out there, but it's not going to cost 30, 40 million. Unfortunately, it's going to cost the 60 to 70, 80. And those are the sort of players that Ange needs now to take us onto that next step. But unfortunately, Spurs are not thinking like that. And that's why we are getting the Archie Grays and Bergwell's going to be, like, for me, he's going to be an excellent player in the future. But there's something right now that Ange just can't trust him and to come in and play those games. So it's it's just one of those. But for me, for me right now, everything's up and down. It is going to be up and down. But I'm backing the manager. It's just that all my frustration, especially with the predictions, is on the board and what they've given him this summer. 100%. And that's where I'm sitting with it. Like for me, Ange, I said when Ange was appointed, especially after the first 10 games, he'll be the guy that will turn everyone against the board and show them for their true colours. Because Ange is now playing the football that everybody wanted. Yes, it's up and down, but if you don't give him the players like they didn't give him this summer, they literally didn't give him the players he needed, apart from Solanke, and look at the situation. That is why we're so inconsistent. And that's all it is. But, onwards and upwards, as they say. Spurs, it is what it is with Spurs. And the problem is, if we had played Man City next week after the Roma game, it wouldn't have been as easy because we'd have had other games in between. Right? Because that Thursday, Sunday is killing us. It's not just killing us. It's also killing Villa, it's killing Man United, it's killing City, and also and Arsenal have been a bit shaky as well in their midweek. The only team that's not suffering at the moment is Liverpool, right? So we're not the only one suffering, and that's what everyone has to understand. So look, for me, Ange is the right man. I just want him to get the players that he needs and can trust going forward for this to work. But for the whole Maddison issue that he had, I'm so glad that he's got over it because actually we saw the best from Maddison and hopefully we'll see the best from Maddison in the next couple of weeks.
I really do hope so. I just worried that he'd done it so he could celebrate his birthday without it reaching the headline. What I will say to people is please get over, check out Spurs Kings TV. I've great time for Ash and I've great time for Marlon. Really, really nice guys.
No, we have time for you two. You two are just class for us.
You give up too much of your time on these.
We love you. Like anything you two ask, we're like, yeah, we got to do it for them no matter what.
You do. And you know what? There's not one person that I've ever heard have a bad way to say about these guys, a bad thing to say about them. So please get over there. Check them out. And Marlon, we got to get you on here more, man, to have conversations. And hopefully anyone out there that, goes to question Marlon's or hammers him in the score predictions in future, he's been he's explained where he's at. So lay off him a little. But Marlon, thank you very much.
No, love you both. Love you both.
One more often, lad.
Appreciate you, Marlon.
Asking to see you more.
Thanks for being patient too.
No worries. So much love, and everyone, make sure you're subscribing to these two. If you're not, these two are too good. Too good. Love them to pieces.
Legend.
But thanks, guys. Cheers.
Thank you very much, my man. Guys, like we said, please get over there, check it out. Him and Ash Matic do absolutely great work, to get onto as many channels as they can and do a great job with it, from Weird Tottenham TV to Last Word on Spurs to small channels like ours. So really appreciate it, guys. Make sure you get over there and show them the love. We're big fans of them. And then last but not least is Eugene. He's late to the party today, so I was wondering how he got the link, but I realized we left it up. We didn't take it down. That's my bad.
Apologies.
Eugene, as always, I must stress, it's an absolute pleasure to speak to you, my man. I've missed you in the last few weeks. How are you?
How's it going, guys? I'm following the great Marlon. No pressure.
No pressure at all.
No
He's good, isn't he, Marlon?
Oh, I love Marlon and Ash. Amazing. Love those
So
guys.
look, where do you want to take it? Where do you want to take it, Eugene? You're
No,
not
just-
smiling today. You don't seem as happy. What's wrong?
No, oh, just man, the Vicario news just bummed me
Mood
out.
killer.
Man. Every time, I swear to you, we're cursed. We need to sacrifice a chicken or a goat or just something. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, one time, like, you know what? I'm just gonna enjoy this week. You know, just gonna relax. And now this news, which is, man, I'm
Do you think
so
it could be
bummed.
the unraveling of the momentum that we're trying to build?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's gonna force Ange to play more conservative, right? Since Forster, we all know how limited he is in playing out of the back, and you know, anything other than maybe set pieces. So maybe Ange is gonna go more conservative. Maybe that's gonna help us. I have no idea, but I'm bummed. I'm gutted.
Yeah. Do you know? I'm sort of the same. It's like, you know, I don't think people realize how much of a crucial part of this cog he is of this team. You know, especially in terms of vocals and stuff like that. I think he's really, really going to be missed, and it does dampen my spirits a little bit. I'm just hoping, you know, Postecoglou can turn into Harry Potter, you know, and conjure up something, Eugene.
Yeah, man,
Oh,
it
I
sucks.
don't
I
even know
was so
what to
happy to, like, on the weekend, man. I went to a pub. I met up with the local supporters club. Got my scarf. You know,
Nice.
It was amazing. You know, everything is great. And now this news, it's like, oh man, here we go again. I don't know what's going on, but our medical team, they said, well, he'll be out for 5 weeks or 5 months, or I don't know, but it might be 5 years, given our medical team. So we need to buy a keeper in January. I mean, no doubt. Even though we have 5 keeper or 4 keepers, we gave Austin a 5-year deal for some reason, but
It exposed that, won't it? Right? You know, we got 4 goalkeepers, and on the outset, people go, but they got 4 goalkeepers there, they'll be fine. But it'll expose that they have no faith in Whiteman or Austin altogether, won't it?
Man, this club. But we move. I mean, we got to beat Roma, and next 2 games are winnable. We just need to put together some consistency. And it was like, when I was on different channels, I was like, you know what, this team, and we talked about it, Dave and Jack, these players, they get up for big games and they don't get up for smaller games. So we can talk about tactics and, you know, not inverting fullbacks and this and that, but ultimately I believe it's the players. When they're in the spotlight, when it's a big game, as you saw with Madison, Bissouma, they turn up. With Fulham, Ipswich, they're not motivated. So let's see what happens next week and the week after. But I'm expecting, you know, this rocky road up and down form. That's just the way we are. That's the way the players play, unfortunately.
Do you know what? I agree with you. I do think, you know, the up and down nature does come to the application of the players towards their tactics, depending on the game. I'm fully in agreement with that. Let me ask you a question, though, Eugene. You obviously, you know, you're at the pub, like you said, having a great time with the, you know, the Spurs supporters group, the local one, got your scarf watching the game. Now, many people have come away with different takeaways. Did Postecoglou reinvent the wheel, which many accused him he'd never do? Or, you know, did he play Ange ball, and that's what ultimately got us to win?
So I don't know. So that's where I see a lot of fans go back and forth. And actually, I need to watch Ashmatic's breakdown. He's really good at identifying exactly what we're doing. I felt we did drop the back line by a few yards, but as far as whether we inverted both fullbacks or not, I'm not sure. I thought we did. Others say we didn't. Ultimately, you know, to me, doesn't matter. Like, what it shows is that Ange can adapt, right? Which is good. When we played against Villa, we played our brand and we destroyed them. Against City, of course, City's going to have the possession, so we need to change it up a bit. Our issues are with teams that give us the possession, to play low block. We don't have the quality to break them down. I'm never concerned, right? When we play the big teams like City, Villa, even Man U, where they want to play open football, and those teams we do well against. But against Ipswich, Arsenal, I'm going to put Arsenal in that category. They just want to fuck the boss. Against those teams, it's tough for us. and it's tough. It's tough for me to say whether it's the tactics or whether it's the lack of quality. Again, when I watch
out wide, no one wants to. No one has the craft to beat a player, put one in the top bins. No one has the craft of put in consistently good crosses. That's it's a quality issue, I think, when we come up against All Blacks.
And when I was watching some breakdowns as well, it's like against Ipswich or against Palace, players were in position to make that pass or to take that shot, and for some reason we don't take it. Even Kulusevski, who's been amazing, sometimes at the 10 he doesn't make that pass. And is it Ange and what he tells him to do? Is it them? I believe it's on them. I believe their footballing IQ isn't great. When it's a free flowing game, it's much easier to play. It's much easier to find that right pass, right? You defer back to your instincts. You just do what feels natural. However, when it's a low block and you actually need to make something happen, our players, unfortunately, at times cannot do that. And Maddison, he's super frustrating. It was great to see him do well, but where was he second half of last year? Where was he at games when we needed him? So everybody's like, oh, Ange is giving him space. Ange puts him at the 10. He had all the space to work. But this is not the first time when Maddison was at the 10 with space, and a lot of the times he let us down. He didn't come through. So I was happy that he did well, but I want to see this against Fulham. And something tells me it's not going to happen again. I hope I'm wrong. I don't want to be negative and pessimistic, but it's just, I've seen this before.
I fully understand it, right? We can't get carried away with ourselves. Yes, we can enjoy the City win, but we're not naive to know the next slip up or the next time we shoot ourselves in the foot could be right around the corner. Just on Maddison as well, look, I don't agree with this that we gave Maddison more room to play. He still played on the left side of the midfield and predominantly occupied that space. It just came down to his attitude on the day. Me personally, on his birthday, he had a point to prove. Comes down to his attitude. Personally, I don't think Postecoglou reinvented the wheel. We done a breakdown on a Big Up Network earlier on. The high line was still there to a certain degree. There's plenty of times we were not camped on the edge of our own box. The line was there trying to play offside. The midfield were getting up, battling the Man City midfield. We didn't drop off them for as much as people say we did. And ultimately, the wing backs, you go look at their average positions. Pedro Porros is just ahead of Dragusin, stuck inside, and same as Destiny Adoji. So I don't think, Postecoglou reinvented the wheel. I just think it comes down to application of the players in general towards the tactics. And I think if they could do that more often, I think you would see a lot more consistency, and which brings less speculation around the tactics and what they're asked to do and stuff like that. Yeah. But Eugene, going into Roma, look, I know you're not the most optimistic, because I do agree with you, around the corner we could shoot ourselves in the foot. We've seen it against Galatasaray. What's your expectations Thursday night? Because I think they have to expect he's going to rotate, right?
Yeah, but we have to win against in Turkey when we played the Galatasaray. I'm like, you know what, it's a tough game. Even if we lose, we're fine. We're still going to go through. Of course,
it was a bit more questionable, though, right? If you get through in the top 8, if you lose to Roma.
Well, yeah, exactly. But with Roma, it's different. We have to win this game. So we lost one, which is okay. But against Roma and the form they've been in, they're not playing well, even though they have some good players. We have to win the game. I'm sure he'll rotate, but we still have enough quality that we should win. But now we're super thin, man. It's gonna be tough. Sonny is on his last legs. I know, we have to rest Sonny. It's I'm pretty optimistic for Roma, but for the game for Fulham and Brentford, or is it Bournemouth or Brentford? I'm a little more
Fulham then Bournemouth away, innit? That Bournemouth one away actually is not going to be an easy game. They've big scalps there already this season. I don't think that's going to be easy. I'll be disappointed if we don't do Fulham, to be quite frank, because I think we're at home that game as well. If it was Fulham away, I would say, You know, despite beating City 4-0, you look back at our record there the last few years away from home. It's not exactly the greatest. I think we got knocked. I think we scraped by them in the cup, and I think we've lost a couple of league games there over the last few years. So that one, if it was away, I'd be a little bit more nervous. But look, like I say, Eugene, the more we win games, the more it's going to bring people on board, the more it's going to boost people's mood around. But look, anything else you want to cover, lad, before we let you go?
Yeah. No, I think, like I said, even though I'm down, I think this could be a blessing in disguise, meaning if we get through December, which is going to be tough, then
especially with Vicario.
Oh, man. Well, yeah, but with all the injuries, but in January, with all the injuries, hopefully the board will see how thin we are and will act accordingly. And actually, if we're in position to challenge for the cups, which we are, and if we're in decent, shape in the league, I really hope that the board will bring in some reinforcements, especially a goalkeeper and especially the left back or the center back. If they don't, then we know what their ambition is, but this time around, we're not asking. I'm not asking for Eze even, right? We need some bodies, and if they don't bring anybody in, I don't see how anybody can question Ange and tactics. The ambition is going to be clear. I still feel, even with the injuries, we still have a good chance at the cups. That's what I'm all in on. That league to me secondary, but we just need to survive through December and just get some reinforcements in January. Otherwise, it's going to be bad.
Do you know what? I completely agree with that, and I just hope fans, if goalkeeper does come back and cost us games, I do hope that fans sort of, have some common sense throughout and say, look, we need to get this guy to January and get him back. Then I agree with you. If they don't back him in January, I'd urge everyone, especially if you don't like the owner, double down on Postecoglou then, because then it's clear that they're setting him up for absolute failure. But Eugene, good to speak to you, my man. What I will say to you is, look, forget about the weekend. Let that come around naturally. Try and enjoy the City result, my man, as best as you can, and then deal with the Fulham game when it comes around, lad.
Yep, awesome. Appreciate you, gentlemen, as always. Great show, great talk.
You want to do another pre-match build-up with me sometime?
Anytime. I'm available. Like, I saw Soren a couple of times. I thought that me and him were, a package deal, but obviously not.
Do you know what it is, lad? Do you know what it is?
You're a good striker
partnership.
Do you know what it is? Loads of people keep reaching out to me and want to come on, so I'm trying to, give a bit of time to everybody. It's a bit difficult, but look, I will have you up.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Again, great show. Thanks for everything that you do. Hopefully we'll get some good results. Keep our fingers crossed. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Thank you very much for the conversation.
Thanks,
really enjoyed it, my man. And
always a pleasure.
Keep an eye on your phone. I'll be in contact with you for a pre-match build-up. All right.
Sounds good. All right. Cheers.
Well done, Eugene. Well done.
Big up, Eugene. Really enjoy Eugene's contributions to the show. He's a really nice guy as well. And look, we will get him on more pre-match build-up. Sorry about that, Eugene, but everybody's fighting for a position on there. So, I'm trying to rotate as much as I can. And then we take this from Paul, and then we will end off, because I'm not going to lie, I do have lovely peppered steaks and salad there for my dinner. So that's going to be
nice.
Diddly-umptious. And he says, do you think we'll see Austin on Thursday and save Forrester for Fulham, or does Forrester need the minutes? Do you know what? I'm torn by this, because you play Forrester and he gets an injury. People are going to go, why did you play him? Save him for the weekend. If I was the manager, I'd put him out Thursday night and just get him into the routine of Thursday, Sunday, because we're going to have to rely on him. I just think the golfing quality, even at his age, between him and someone like Austin and Whiteman, I think is night and day. So for me, I think you just got to put him in Thursday, try and get him up to sharpness and speed and all that sort of jazz, and hopefully it works for the weekend. That's where I'm at.
I don't really have confidence in any of the options, Paul. Like, I think I'm completely devoid of any confidence in Forrester, and I don't even really like Austin, because I think as much as some people might think he had a good preseason, I do recall some mistakes as well. Like, I do remember him letting in some goals that maybe he shouldn't have, that was kind of in low pressure scenarios, right? And he's never played in big games before in an actual competitive game in his career at Spurs. And, you think that might end up being whole different scenario for him. And if he's making mistakes in preseason games under no pressure really whatsoever, then what does that mean, for bigger occasions? That makes me want to go with Forster, but I don't rate Forster in any of his ability whatsoever. So might as well just, and I'm almost leaning towards Austin, but I have no I just have no strong feelings about one or the other. I'm really saddened by both options. If anything, I'd also give a case for Gunter, but that's just me personally.
Yeah.
I'm split on all three. I'm really split.
I think it's one that we're all going to have sleepless nights over until Thursday and Sunday, and we'll just wait to see what the selection is. But guys, I want to say thank you to everybody who makes these fan shows possible. Not only Jack for hosting them, me tagging along, but you guys that come into the comment section, stay with us from 3-hour shows at time, like today, 3 hour 15 minutes. Absolutely insane. Really appreciate all of you, and of course the people that come on and have these conversations and like to converse with us. Thank you very, very much, everybody. Keep an eye out. We will be back tomorrow. I think we're going to put down the breakup that we've done on Big Up to sort of show you guys a bite-sized sample of what we do over there. Ideally, we want you to get over there when we're live and join us in future. But, just to give you a bite-size, so take a look for that. And then we'll see what the rest of the week entails. Keep an eye on that, and we'll keep you updated. Jack will also be on Spurs Diehards tomorrow evening with Adrian Schrocke and Brad Matthews, and I presume Mr. Met, I call him. I think that's his name. I think I'm correct. I think he'll be on as well. So make sure you look out for that tomorrow evening. And yeah, we'll see you soon, guys. Thank you very much, everybody, for support. Everybody that's gone the extra mile as well. Chris, Peter Kagea, Sargent, Paul, Iceman, Faz Radfar, DJ Samuel, Kev Williams, and Jerome. Really, really appreciate it all, guys. You help keep it going, help make it all possible. We'll see you tomorrow. Go and have a good evening. Forget about the goalkeeper news. Worry about it in the next game. Enjoy the Man City result. We'll see you all soon.
See you all soon. Have a good rest of your evenings.
Have a good evening.